I was like, get out of here. Get out.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Sheila Rogers is suing her ex-boyfriend, David Dobbs, for assault, medical expenses, and pain and suffering.
Order. All rise. This is case number 222 on the calendar, the matter of Rogers versus Dobbs.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Dobbs, where do you live?
In Ontario, California?
And you live in Las Vegas?
Yes, ma'am.
This complaint alleges that in May of this year, Mr. Dobbs, you drove from California to Las Vegas, and you were in a motel or hotel. Is it
Yes.
hotel or motel?
Hotel.
What was the purpose of that visit?
I had a show out there in Vegas.
It wasn't to visit the plaintiff?
No, ma'am.
Were you still in a relationship in May?
Yes.
What kind of show did you have?
DJ dance, kind of entertainment show.
But you did let her know you were coming?
Yes.
To Las Vegas?
Yes.
And at some point in May, what was it, May 16th?
May 14th.
They invited you over to meet?
We had text with each other the earlier part of the day. Some of the texts turned a little sexual, but we agreed that I would come to the hotel where he was, and I went.
To visit him?
Yes, ma'am.
So that was a pre-arrangement?
Somewhat, yes, ma'am.
What do you mean somewhat? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Before he came, I had no thoughts of going to see him because normally I would get his rooms for him when he came to Las Vegas. But at this time, I did have him a room, but we got into it like a week before.
You got into what?
We had an argument.
That's what I'm trying to get at. So you had an argument a week before. Was that in person or over the phone?
It was basically over text messages.
And what was the argument about?
He texted me and asked me did I know of anywhere that he could work while he was out here, that he needed $1,800 and he didn't want to ask for it. And I told him I didn't know of a club, and I asked him what did he need it for. And he said, I just need it, and he wouldn't tell me what he needed it for. So I asked him again. He still wouldn't tell me. So I said, never mind. And he got an attitude about it. He told me he didn't need my attitude. He just needed to know if there was a place that he could work while he...
So then he came out. You knew he was there, and you went to see him. So your relationship with him had cooled during that week.
It had cooled actually in January to February. We had started cooling off because I was getting tired of his lies. I had started backing away from him because of other women.
Fine. So tell me what happened on the 14th of May when you went to his hotel.
Well, I pulled up. I valet parked. He told me he was at the roulette table, so I went in. He was playing roulette, and I stood behind him. He turned around and saw me. He turned around, gave me a kiss. I guess he had made friends with another guy that was playing there, so he introduced me to the guy. I knew he had already been drinking all day, but I asked him if he wanted a drink. He said he did. I went to the bar, got him a double shot of Hennessy, got myself a drink. I went back to the table. He was still playing. When I got to the table, the cocktail waitress arrived there at the same time, so he had 2 drinks. He downed one, and he finished playing. We started to walk to the room. And on the way to the room, he drank the other one, put it down. There was waiters. So he showed the key. We went up to the room. We get in the room, and he turns on music. I went over to the window, and I was looking out the window. He asked me to pour him a drink because he had brought a big bottle of Captain Morgan with him from California, and he had been drinking on it prior to...
You don't know what happened prior to. He asked you to pour him another drink.
Right, and I did. He turned some music on. We were talking, and I started to have a conversation about a friend of his that had been trying to hit on me. And months before, I had sent him a screenshot of what the guy was saying, and I thought he would handle it, but he didn't.
Why would you think he would handle it, Miss Rogers?
Because that's what I was brought up that men do. If this is your friend, he shouldn't be coming at the person that you're dating. So I thought he would
should
be...
know him.
I thought...
You thought he should know about it, that his friend.
Right. And I thought, you know, this supposedly is his friend, so you would do something about it. But he turned it back on me. So we were talking about it. So he said, I tell you what, I'm going to call this. And he called him. I don't want to say it here. He called him. I'm going to call him right now. He has an iPhone, so he FaceTimed him. The guy answered. So he proceeded to tell him what I had told him. It wasn't all about money. And the guy cut him off, and he said, I tell you what, I do, but you guys keep me out of what's going on between you. And he repeated himself and said it again. Keep me out of what's going on between you. As I'm going to delete her as my friend on Facebook, and I'm going to delete her number out of my phone. He said, keep me out of your business. And he hung up on him. When he hung up, that's when he changed. He said that, I don't care what he say, you're mine and I'm your. And I said, I'm nobody's, don't call me that. And he said that I'm your and you're my. And I said, cute, but I don't like either of those words. I got up because I was sitting on the bed farthest from the window. I started to walk over to him by the window, and before I got there, he grabbed me.
Why were you going over there?
I was going over to the window. He had the window open. I was just walking over to the window. But before I got there, he was standing there, and he grabbed me. And when he grabbed me, he threw me to his left. And there was a dresser/TV stand there. And I managed to catch myself like this. And I'm asking him, why did you do that? What's wrong with you? And I turned, and he was pretty much on me. So I pushed him in the chest backwards. He grabbed me again, and he threw me to his left again. This time I missed the desk, and I hit the wall. His suitcase was sitting on the luggage rack right there. I have pictures of the suitcase, and I hit the wall in between the suitcase and the desk. When I hit that, I fell over on the suitcase and the luggage rack. We all fell to the floor.
I rolled. Fell to the floor.
The suitcase, the luggage rack, and myself. And I managed to roll over in a sitting position, and I'm sitting there thinking, wow, what just happened?
Okay,
why did he do this?
So what did you do next? He did it because, if I believe you, he did it because you've just told me that he had been drinking before you arrived.
Right.
You went and got him a double shot. He ordered another double shot, which he consumed. He asked for another drink when you got into the room.
Right.
So you're not dealing with someone who's rational. And not dealing with someone who's rational, you're telling them that a friend of his has put a hit on you, and you think that he should deal with it in his otherwise altered state.
Yes, ma'am.
That doesn't permit anybody.
Yes.
Right.
It would be.
And it was.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He grabbed me again and slung me over on the bed. I said, he's really going to hurt me. So I went over and I grabbed my phone, and I didn't know.
And he went to the bathroom.
He went in the bathroom.
Why didn't you leave?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sheila Rogers says ex-boyfriend David Dobbs assaulted her in a Las Vegas hotel room.
Okay. I assume that you've told me honestly that you had one drink.
I had half of one drink. My drink was still pretty full.
So you had a clear mind, and you're dealing with a guy who's got a fuzzy mind.
Yes, ma'am.
If I believe you.
Yes.
He's going to tell me his own version of the story, which I haven't gotten to yet because he's been quiet.
Right.
Okay. Make a long story short, then, based upon what I heard, you called the police.
Well,
did you call the police or call security?
I called the police the first time.
Okay. So
once I got up, because when I got up off the floor, he was walking by to go to the bathroom, and he grabbed me again and slung me over on the bed. So I said, if he's really going to hurt me, if I continue to grab my phone, and I didn't know.
And he went to the bathroom?
He went in the bathroom.
Why didn't you leave?
Your Honor, I don't know. I honestly...
I'm just curious. Why didn't you leave?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I thought this was somebody that I loved, somebody that I knew. I couldn't understand why he was doing it. I can't tell you why I didn't leave at that moment.
Okay, fine. So you called the police. The police arrived.
Yes.
And you were arrested.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were arrested on an outstanding warrant.
A warrant that I didn't know I had.
Okay. It was an outstanding warrant for what?
It was a 2009 unemployment, theft, and
Okay.
fraud they charged me with.
Okay. Was that case ever resolved?
It is being resolved.
Oh, so it hasn't been resolved, then I don't want to hear about
Okay.
it. Okay, so there's an outstanding warrant. You were arrested on
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
and subsequently someone posted bail for you?
Yes,
Who did?
my daughter.
How old is your daughter?
She will be 34.
Okay. And what you want to be is compensated for the assault. That's what you're here for.
Well, it tore a ligament in my knee.
That's what you want.
Yes.
You want to be compensated for the assault. Okay. Because that matter was never pursued by the authorities in Las Vegas.
It wasn't pursued because Mr. Dobbs lied.
Okay. Well, I don't know that. Now, you've told me your story. He's going to tell me his story.
Okay.
Go.
How you doing, Miss Judy? Yes, I've been drinking. We have been drinking together. I have no idea what this one drink thing is.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize.
14th, she says she arrived and you were at the casino table.
Right.
Is that true?
Yes.
And you finished at the casino table and you were going upstairs to your room.
Yes, ma'am.
The two of you.
Yes.
Great. Well, let's pick it up from there.
We're walking to the elevator together, drinking together. We get to the room, we're drinking together. Oh, Captain Morgan, let's have some fun. I turn on the music, everything's going all good. She goes, hey, your friend keep hitting on me. I'm like, well, he can't hit on you. He can't automatically get your number out of nowhere. How'd he get it? How'd he call you? I'm asking her questions like, you can't tell me things because this is my friend. He already told me this situation, but this is not the time to talk. Hey, just keep our business to us. And he'd never know nothing about that. That's all I say.
I don't understand. I don't understand what you just said.
Don't tell my friends anything about myself. Don't tell them about me. There's no reason you should talk to my friend about me because you and him have no communication. For what? Why are you guys friends? That's my friend. That's not your friend. So how does he have your number? Why is he on your phone? That was the question.
Okay, so the question was how your friend got her phone number.
There you go.
Did she answer that question?
No. Just went around it. Never cared about it. Oh.
So, and
After that, I called him. Like, bro, what's going on? Oh, man, just keep my name out of it. I don't want to go through that. All right, fine. Hung up. Like, look, you my girl. I did say she like, oh, don't call me no, we're drunk. We're both intoxicated. Don't call me no. I'm like, look, I can call you whatever I want to. Girl, you are tripping. Get out.
I don't understand what
She hit me
Where did she hit you?
on my face.
Okay.
So when she walked over, hit me in the face, pushed her back like, you are tripping. Get out of here.
Well, Mr. Dobbs, did she hit you or was she walking over to hit you?
No, she hit me. She walked over and hit me because I'm at the table at a standstill. I'm at a table at the standstill where the drink is. So when she walked over, it was just a hit. And I was like, whoa, get out of here. Get out. I ain't leaving. Don't call me no.
Did she hit you with a closed fist or an open hand?
Open. It was open hand.
It was an open hand.
Yes.
And she hit you in the face?
Yes.
So she slapped you?
Yes.
Okay. What happened next?
I just kept telling her to leave. Then I turned my phone on. I just wanted to record everything. Like, it sounded like it's going to be some tricky, something funny going on. And I was getting dressed. I was ready to go gamble. I'm not leaving. How you going to call me if you love me? Get out. Just leave. Just leave. All you got to do is get out of my room.
Okay. Next.
I go into the bathroom. She follows me to the bathroom. I'm still recording. Oh.
Where did you take that from?
All you got to do is push play.
You just how can you say you love me and you call me? How can you say you love me and you call me?
That's where she pushed me.
How can you say that you love me? Call me. Don't touch me. Whatever you do, don't touch me. Don't get my name out. Don't touch me. Thank you.
There's more.
That's why the whole world is different now with those things.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Miss Rogers,
Yes.
first of all, he didn't look really drunk. You look more drunk than he did in this video.
I wasn't drunk.
You look more drunk than he does in this video.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Boyfriend David Dobbs assaulted her in a Las Vegas hotel room.
Okay, so you followed him.
I have a recording also.
So you followed him. I'm going to see it, but you followed him into the bathroom.
I went into...
No, you followed him into the bathroom. That's what this shows. He's getting washed. He says, just leave. You followed him into the bathroom, and then at some point, when he was recording what was going on, you went over to the phone, knocked over the phone, because that's what that shows. That's a little bit of a different story.
Well,
Now I'd like to see your video.
It's a recording. I actually went to the bathroom after I called the police. I didn't follow him directly to the bathroom.
Miss Rogers.
Yes.
First of all,
I understand what you're saying.
well, good. I'm glad you understand what I'm saying. If you are afraid, as a matter of fact, he didn't look really drunk. You look more drunk than he did in this video.
I wasn't drunk.
Just, you look more drunk than he does in this video. He's washing his face. He says, I got to get ready. I got to go. Get out. Don't touch me. Get out. And you confronted him again, followed him around again, knocked over the phone that was recording. Now I want to see, you said you have your own recording. I'd like to see it.
It is more of a voice recording of...
Like you an innocent guy, like you didn't do anything, you didn't start anything, you didn't push me. And why are you acting like that?
If you can leave, none of this happen.
Okay, if you gonna act like that, then we.
That's where it stops. Judge, I have the full version of that. The full, with the video.
I'd like to see it.
Yes, please. That's, it started and stopped somewhere. I wanted the rest of it to play. That didn't even go how it's supposed to go. There you go. That's the 3-minute version. There you go. That's the full clip. I don't know what that was.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I'm asking you a question. Why are you acting like this with me? Why are you acting like this for me? With me? Really? Why are you acting like this with me? Why are you acting like this? I ask you a question.
I'll have to answer anything. Can you just leave?
Let me record my stuff too.
Please do.
Why are you acting like this?
Please, let's record.
You all of a sudden start acting like there's some, like, I don't know, like you an innocent guy, like you didn't do anything, you didn't start anything, you didn't push me. Why are you acting like that?
If you can leave, none of this happen.
Okay, if you're gonna act like that, then we don't. I'm gonna leave.
Okay.
But since you pushed me down on the floor, we're gonna make this official. How about that?
Do what you feel, Sheila.
Because that was unnecessary.
You slapping me on my face was necessary?
I didn't slap you in your face until you pushed me.
I did not push you.
You did too push me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, then we'll both go to jail tonight.
Okay, that's what I'm for. Because you're not worried, I'm not.
Got it. Case is dismissed. We're done.
Thank you.
Funds are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
Oh, it was perfect. It was great. I mean, video evidence never lies. Revenge. I like that. Let's go with the truth will set you free.
He let me eat some of his food, and
I did not give him the food. He stole it.
A landlord's list of grievances.
How much did you owe him?
he told me $20.
Just $20.
He got upset that I wasn't giving it to him on the spot.
Then,
You and Mr. Horn had an altercation.
did he take a swing at solving it?
He came out of the door with a bamboo stick, and I reached into my closet in self-defense to grab my bat.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
21-year-old Chase Adrian is suing his former landlord, 73-year-old William Tyler Horn, for the return of his security deposit and laptop and a false arrest.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 245 on the calendar in the matter of Adrian versus Horn.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Adrian, you were a tenant of Mr. Horn's for approximately 8 months, according to what I read in your complaint. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you're suing him for a variety of things. Let's take a security deposit that you left with him.
Yes.
And you want the security deposit refunded to you.
Yes.
How much was the security deposit?
$14.50.
Is that correct, Mr. Horn?
I believe so.
Okay. And when did you give him the $14.50? When did you start your tenancy?
The agreement was entitled, I have evidence,
Just tell me the date.
23rd of November, 2015.
And you moved out on what date?
I moved out on June 21st, 2016.
Did Mr. Horn return any part of your security deposit?
No.
And you just rented a room from him?
Yes.
Is that correct? All right, Mr. Horn, we're going to deal with first things first. Security deposit. You will agree that you did not return any part of Mr. Adrian's security deposit?
Correct.
Now you're going to tell me why.
Because damage and the thefts that occurred when he was living in the house.
You don't get any credit for thefts that occurred when he was in the house that you didn't report to the police. Did you report any of the thefts to the police?
When they arrested him, yes.
No. During his tenancy?
No.
Fine. Forget thefts. I want to see the damage that you're claiming that he caused.
Okay.
When was that damage caused?
The day he moved out.
Did you punch these holes in the walls?
No, I did not.
Did anything that you do cause these holes in the doors?
The big hole was already there when I punched.
Who replaced the door?
I did. I put it back myself.
You replaced the door on the hinges, and this was the door to your room?
Yeah, there was a door. It was the door before this one was broken, so I just replaced that door with this door with the 2 holes.
You bought a door?
No.
Where did you get it from?
It was in the garage, an extra door in the garage.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What other damage did he cause?
You don't count stolen.
No,
Correct.
you have to return his security deposit. So we have $1,450 so far. Now, the second part of your lawsuit is punitive damages for false arrest. I assume that sometime around the end of June when you moved out, you and Mr. Horn had an altercation.
Yes.
And as a result of that altercation, you were arrested.
That is correct.
No charges were ever filed against you.
No.
So you were released.
Yes.
Okay. I want you to tell me about what happened. Was that on June 21st?
This was on June 20th.
On the 20th. So tell me what happened on June 20th.
On the 20th, Mr. Horn and I got into an argument.
About what?
About money that I should have paid him for gas and for food.
Gas for what?
He was driving me to the beach so we could go on walks, and he was driving to Hollywood so he could go to a comedy show, and I wanted to go with him. But I didn't pay him for gas, and so...
Okay, so you were going to split the gas?
No, I was going to pay him
Hey.
full in $20.
So he approached you about the gas money?
Yes.
And food?
Food. I ate some of his food. He let me eat some of his food, and part of that would be paying for the food.
Would be all in the $20?
Yes.
Okay, so he asked you for the $20. And what happened?
I told him I didn't have it at the moment, but I would give it to him as soon as I got it, and he was upset. He didn't believe me.
How long had you owed him the $20?
About maybe 2.5 months, because he was being generous and driving me without asking for the money, but it got so overwhelming that he finally asked for the money, and I agreed to give it to him.
Just $20?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And you would owe it to him for months?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And after that, we got into a verbal argument because, like I said, he got upset that I wasn't giving it to him on the spot. And so he punched the first hole in the door, and he was getting upset. And he kept pushing on the door, and I locked the door. I said, I want you to calm down first, and then I'll talk to you. But he was still getting upset, and then, he was hitting the door as hard as he could, and he finally broke it off its hinges. And he shoved me down where I hit the fan. I landed on the fan and it broke. And after that, I called the police. And the police came the first time, and they said, what's going on? I told them what happened. And they said, well, why
Don't tell me what they said. Do you have a police report from that incident?
I do. They told me...
You can't tell me what they told you. You went back into the house?
Yes, after they told me to...
You went back into the house?
Yes, back into the house.
And that was the 20th. Okay, what happened after you went back into the house?
After that, Mr. Horn went back into his room, and when he was in his room, he closed his door, and I went over to the door and I knocked on it, and I wanted to, just apologize for yelling at him, but he was still upset, and I was still knocking on the door just saying, hey, I would like to apologize. I made a mistake. I just want to apologize.
You were yelling at him?
Yes, and he was upset, and he came out of the door with a bamboo stick, and I ran back into my room because he was following me into my room. he was really upset. You know, he had an angry face. And I went back into my room, and he was there with the bamboo stick. And I reached into my closet in self-defense to grab my bat, okay? And I held it up. I didn't touch him with it. I held it up, he backed away, and at that point, I called the cops.
For a second time?
Yes.
So you called the police on both occasions?
Yes.
Okay, what happened when the police arrived?
The police arrived, and they handcuffed Tyler, and they sat me down on the driveway. They talked with him. I don't know what they were talking about. And then they came over to me, and they asked me what was going on. I told them what was happening, and they had enough evidence, I guess, to arrest me, because Mr. Horn said that I hit him with the bat.
Hit you with the bat?
No, I did not.
What did you tell the police, Mr. Horn?
Told the police that he pulled a knife on me, which he did. His memory is very faulty.
Did you have a knife in your possession?
No, I did not.
During the course of the police placing you under arrest, did a knife fall out of your pocket?
It was in my pocket, but it was not out of my pocket.
So it was in your possession?
Yes.
The knife was in your possession?
Yes.
What kind of knife was it?
It was a small pocket knife. The blade was probably that big.
Okay. Do you have a police report? I'd like to see it. You don't have another police report where it's not all blacked out?
I tried to obtain one, but
Well, you can return this.
the Attorney General in Torrance blots out the name of the perpetrator and not the victim, which is rather ironic to me.
They blocked out the name of the perpetrator because there were no charges filed against him.
Yeah, evidently.
Okay. Great. Mr. Adrian,
yes.
You're getting your security deposit back, $1,450. But clearly, unless he was psychic, he didn't know that you had a knife in your possession.
Yes.
If it was in your pocket. But the police found the knife when they placed you under arrest, and they did voucher the knife. Did they take the knife when they released you the next day?
No. The arrest was not for the knife. It was for elderly abuse, which I did not hit him.
Now, the only other thing that I'm going to consider, I'm not considering punitive damages for false arrest. What I am considering is the laptop that you say he kept that belonged to you. Was this an old laptop, sir?
Yes, it was a Windows Vista.
And did you, Mr. Adrian, at some point damage Mr. Horn's computer?
No, I did not.
Did you damage his keyboard and printer?
No.
Did you use his keyboard and printer?
The keyboard that he has, I gave that to him. It was a black keyboard that I gave to him along with a monitor that plugs into a laptop. And the printer, it was not broken. The ink cartridges just weren't working, so it looked as if it was broken.
How many laptops did you have when you left the house on June 21st?
Well, I had 0 because of the laptop that was still there.
So you didn't have a computer?
I had a laptop that I brought into the house when I first moved in.
And that was the one that you are claiming that Mr. Horn has?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Other than that laptop, you have no other laptop or no other computer?
No.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Horn. Explain the computer to me.
I saw him steal a laptop from underneath my living room table, as I also saw the food. He stole it.
Mr. Horn, let me tell you what your answer is.
That's it.
No, let me tell you what you swore to in your answer.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
you have to have proof that Miss Robinson took your property.
My proof wasn't him, but he's dead.
Listen, I can perform magic, but even that's a little hard for me.
Well, yep, I wish
if
you
that's
could.
the proof, and he's dead, I can't resurrect him.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Chase Adrian says his former landlord, William Tyler Horn, won't return his security deposit and laptop. He also says William had him falsely arrested for an assault.
Now, you swore in your answer that Mr. Adrian gave you his old computer as payment for my broken equipment. Now you just tell me that he stole your computer.
And then gave me his.
Okay. You have to return his computer to him, and I will give you an order that you can go and get it in the company of a police officer. In addition to that, you get $1,450, which is your security deposit. We're finished. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He was a nice guy at first, but as the months went along,
I would drive him places and, you know, and try.
He was yelling at himself and just acting very crazy.
And just nothing. He wouldn't clean.
He was mad that I didn't clean my room when he wanted it to be clean.
He wouldn't do anything around the house that he was required to do.
He was mad that I came back late and that I was blasting music.
He started lying, stealing.
I did not steal the iPhone.
Came home from a bike ride, saw him steal it and run down the driveway with it.
Because I already had a phone. He lost his iPhone.
I better know them better like I do the guy that's in there now.
Exactly. I have a dad, and he's not my dad.
Very glad he's gone.
I never want to see him again.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Williams versus Robinson, step forward.
Joylyn Williams is suing her late boyfriend's wife, Brenda Robinson, for the return of a watch and a tablet.
Miss Williams, you had a boyfriend for,
yes,
according to your complaint, about 8 years.
Yes.
And what was his name?
His name is Reggie.
What was his last name?
Reginald Harmon.
And he passed away when?
He passed away May the 7th.
Of this year?
Oh, yes, this year, sorry.
About a week before that, according to your complaint, you had spent the night,
yes,
with Mr. Harmon. And when you left your watch there and a writing tablet.
Yes.
And within the next couple of days, according to your complaint, he never recovered, nor did he return home. He died in the hospital.
Yes.
On what date?
Did he die
on the 7th?
Yes, the 7th.
He died on the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And on what date had you last been to his house?
Yes, I was at his house. It was April the 29th, and I came home on the 30th, which is that Saturday.
Okay. Now, Miss Robinson, you claim that you and Mr. Harmon were married.
Yes, we are.
Well, you're not married anymore because he's dead.
Right.
And you did not live with him.
Not at all.
The last time that you lived with him was when?
Maybe 2006.
Were you notified that he was in the hospital?
I took him.
Tell me how that came about.
He came over to my house the day before and, just talking, and he was seeing the kids. And then he said he didn't feel well. So he laid down, and later on, he left to go home. And then my daughter went with him, and then I stopped by to pick her up.
How old is your daughter?
She's 15.
Go ahead.
And later, I went by to pick her up, and he came downstairs and asked me would I take him to the hospital.
So that's how you knew he was in the hospital?
Yes.
How many children do you and Mr. Harmon have?
2.
15-year-old daughter?
And a 13-year-old son.
And I assume you didn't know that? That's what you suggest.
Those is not his real kids, they stepkids. Yes, I do know that. So, yes, he do have 3 foster kids by her.
Are these his biological children?
No, they're not.
Okay. Now, this is your complaint. Your complaint is that you believe Miss Robinson has your watch and the tablet.
And the tablet, yes. Because I left it there on the dresser. And how she got the keys is she went to his...
I don't care.
Sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
As she pulled up in the car, she was bringing out this bag. And as she was proceeding to hand her the bag, Joylyn was like, that looked like my watch. And then she, I guess, confronted, she did say something about the watch.
What did Miss Robinson respond?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Joylyn Williams is suing her late boyfriend's wife, Brenda Robinson, for the return of a watch and a tablet.
Now, you left them on the dresser. Do you have any proof that Miss Robinson has either, because she says she has neither the watch nor the tablet, is that correct?
I have never seen it.
Okay, that's what she says.
Okay.
Do you have any proof that she has either the watch or the tablet?
Yes, because she came into the adult center where he works at, which I go to the center. She had the watch on, and I asked her, that's my watch. She drove off and said, this is mine, that's my husband. I said like the 3rd day in him in the hospital.
Okay. Now, Miss Robinson, we're not talking about the tablet, we're talking about the watch.
Okay.
Do you recall a conversation that you had with Miss Williams about the watch?
Not at all.
More than once.
Not at all.
Was anyone else present? Tell me your name.
My name is Brenda Larry.
Were you present at the adult center?
Actually, we were sitting outside in the front of the Long Life Adult Care Center. She pulled up in a car. And as she pulled up in the car, she was bringing out this bag. And she had seen Joylyn. She proceeded to give her the bag. And as she was giving her...
Just a second. The defendant was giving Miss Williams a bag?
Yes, ma'am.
What did the bag contain?
No, I seen her and she wanted some pictures that they had. I put the pictures in the bag and gave
So
her.
that's what the bag contained. The bag contained pictures.
Yes.
Okay, so she handed her?
Yes, and as she was proceeding to hand her the bag and stuff, and Joylyn was like, that looked like my watch. And then she, I guess, confronted, she did say something about the watch. She got in her car and she sped off, and she drove off.
Did she say anything?
It's not my business to say anything.
No, did she say anything?
She said anything. What did she say to her?
She said, that looks like my watch. What did Miss Robinson respond?
No, I don't think she was there.
I don't think
she is. No, Brenda wasn't
Brenda
there. This is mine. That's my husband's stuff. But it's my husband's mine that she drove off.
Yeah.
Burning rubber driving off too. But these are the pictures she gave me. I couldn't bring it in. Some trying to be funny, some pornos, and a picture of a girl that's not even me. Yes.
I don't.
This is what she gave me. Your Honor. And this is my watch.
May I see those?
And this is the tablet. Tell you about the tablet. How much I paid for it. Receipt.
Miss Robinson, where did you get this watch from?
I've never seen that watch. I didn't hand her no watch at all.
Well, what kind of watch do you wear?
I don't wear a watch.
Where did you get this watch from?
I bought the watch from a girl off the street, but she sell purses and watches and different stuff. I had got it from her.
When?
Christmas last year. And you know, this
how much
is
did
my
you?
tablet.
How much? I don't care about the tablet. You have no proof that she has the tablet.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you have no proof she has the tablet. There were other people who had access to his apartment or his house. So you have to have proof that she has.
I have proof that she's all at the house.
That's okay.
And that's showing that they went into the house.
Miss Williams, you have to have proof that she took your property. Now, I believe you when you say she was wearing your watch.
Excuse me. I told Reginald to bring my tablet and my watch to work with him Monday, and he had told me, yeah, but he had passed.
How much did you pay for the watch?
I paid $75 for the watch.
Do you have any proof that you paid $75 for the watch?
No, only proof I got is my tablet.
What kind of watch was it?
It was a Michael Kors watch.
And I assumed it was still running when you left it at Reggie's house.
Yeah, it was still ticking.
Anything else?
My tablet. Your Honor, she took my stuff. Brenda knows she took my stuff.
Miss Williams, I tried to explain it to you. I'm going to explain it to you once more.
Okay, I'm okay.
You have to have proof
dead.
That Miss Robinson took your property. That's the tablet.
Well, my proof was him, but he's dead. And the dead cannot talk.
I can't even, listen, I can perform magic, but even that's a little hard for me.
Well, yeah, I wish you could.
If that's the proof and he's dead, I can't resurrect him. Yeah. Do you understand?
I wish you could.
But I believe she had your watch. And I don't know exactly how much you paid for it, but you say you paid $75 for it from somebody on the street. I'm awarding you the $75.
Okay, that's fine.
Done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Comes up short.
She was paying regularly and then just stopped.
And the new wife has to have her say.
There had been a decline in her behavior.
I don't think it's a good idea for you to discuss that.
Judge Judy.
Well, I was kind of disappointed because he can't speak for me, you know, but my tablet and watch was there.
Because I don't wear watch. My wrist is too little for watches. I don't wear watches.
If I get paid for the tablet, for the watch, why are they not going to pay me for the tablet? Both of them sitting in the same spot.
The situation at the hospital, you know, I'm done with it. I just rather not.
But like I said, the dead can't talk, so I don't have no evidence for that. You know.
I mean, I didn't pay no attention. I ignored it.
Rest in peace, Reggie. I love you.
I'm having a good time down here, thanks.
That's a shame.
Her ex is quick to mouth off.
I loaned Chris $8,500.
I don't owe her any money.
Show me the emails.
But will his comments...
It's taken a long time.
I have nothing but time.
Come back to bite him?
Now I'm going to hear your counterclaim. Let's do it and talk fast.
If it wouldn't cut me off, I'd be able to talk fast.
What did he just say?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Sarah Wenzel is suing her ex to buy a Harley-Davidson and for harassment.
Order. All rise.
Now, it's case number 247 on the calendar in the matter of Wenzel versus Wood.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. Wood, I'm going to start with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay? Because I see that you're here and you have no evidence in front of you. A little piece.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's all you need. That must be for tinted windows.
An exhaust system. My countersuit.
Now, she has a whole bunch of papers. You have a whole bunch of papers there?
I do.
And your lawsuit claims that he owes you money for a loan that you took out for him for a motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am.
And it was at a time when, despite the fact that you're neighbors and you've been neighbors for a while, you briefly dated.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was during this time that you were dating that you allegedly took out this loan for him. You also have another part of your lawsuit for harassment, annoying behavior. I don't know if I'm going to bother with that. But what I want to know is, what proof do you have to show me that you actually took out a loan for him and gave him the money to buy this bike, because he says he has never taken a dime from you?
Your Honor, I have text messages from the day that I was at the bank taking out the purse for Chris.
For Chris. And Chris responded to you?
He did.
In text messages?
He did.
Okay, then stop. Okay. Now, she has that.
I'd like to see that.
I'm going to see it.
Awesome.
So when did you give him money, in what month and year, to buy a motorcycle?
I loaned Chris the money on March 5th, 2015, in the amount of $8,500.
If you checked DMV records, would it indicate that there was a transfer of title to you for a motorcycle on or about the 5th of March, or the 7th of March, or the 10th of March, 2015?
No, Your Honor.
So you did not purchase a motorcycle in that year?
I've purchased 3 motorcycles in that year.
Year. When?
I purchased the last one a few weeks ago.
No, 2015.
Purchased one the middle of January.
January 2015?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Purchased another one probably 2 months after that, March.
That's what we're talking about,
Yeah,
March.
we're not talking about...
No, we're talking about March. So you did purchase one in March?
Yeah,
Good.
At the end of March is when
2015.
I purchased one. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now tell me the circumstances surrounding you taking out this loan for him.
I moved into the house that I live in February 1st, 2015. I'm 4 houses down from Chris. Chris and I struck up a friendship. We began hanging out, everything. We got. He came to me the first week in March and said that he had found a motorcycle from a private party up near Sacramento, California. The person selling the bike was asking $7,500, and he said the bike was worth almost twice that much. He asked he could borrow the money from me, and he promised to pay me back 3 to 4 months later.
From what?
He promised to pay me back the loan amount.
From what money?
From the loan. I took a loan out from the bank.
I understand. From what was he going to pay you back in 3 or 4 months? From his paycheck? Was he going to sell this motorcycle?
He told me that he was going to turn around and sell the bike for double what it was worth. He said $14,000. And
he didn't have the money?
He didn't have the money.
What do you do for a living?
I am a registered dental assistant.
Do you work for a dentist full-time?
I do.
Same dentist?
Yes, for 14 years.
And what do you do, Mr. Wood, for a living?
I'm a tattoo artist.
Do you have your own business, or you work for someone else?
I work for somebody else.
For how long?
I've been a tattoo artist for 25 years.
I'm talking about the person that you're currently working for. How long have you been working for them?
2.5 years.
Are you paid by check or cash?
Cash. I get paid by check by my other job. I run a CNC machine.
You get paid in cash by the tattoo parlor that you work for.
Yes, sure.
How? Because I asked you how you supported yourself. You said I'm a tattoo artist. You didn't tell me about another job. How much do you make as a tattoo artist? How much do you make a week?
I don't know, maybe $600 a week.
And in your other job where you get paid by check, what kind of job is that?
I'm a setup technician on a CNC machine. I make aluminum rims, motorcycle parts.
And the name of the company that you work for?
All Tech Technology. I'm not sure what that has to do with this case, but okay.
How long have you worked for them?
For a year.
You work an 80-hour week?
No.
You work a 40-hour week?
25 hours a week.
So you're not a full-time employee?
Nope.
How much do you get paid from them?
Probably $400 a week.
Okay, so we're now in March 5th, 2015. He's got this great opportunity to buy a motorcycle. Tell me what you did.
That morning, I went to Coast Hills Federal Credit Union and applied for a personal loan in the amount of $8,500.
Why?
Chris had asked me...
Well, if he asked you for $75, why did you apply for $85?
He asked me to take out $8,500 so that he had an additional $1,000 to pay for the tax, license, and registration on the bike.
That's funny.
Okay, keep going.
I did get approved for the loan for $8,500, and I met him afterwards with the cash. That evening, he drove up to Sacramento with Lauren to pick up the motorcycle. His
what?
His roommate.
His roommate?
Yes. And sent me pictures of the bike. 4 months, he would have the full amount paid off back to me in cash.
Show me. He says you never gave him any money.
I have text messages from that day.
Did you take this from your phone?
I did.
I'd like to see it on your phone.
Well, Your Honor, Chris broke my phone. He punched my phone, but this is the phone that has all the evidence.
Wow. I'd like to see it.
Okay.
No, I don't want to see it. I want you to get it up so I can
can't
read
turn it on. It won't turn on.
Go figure.
When did he break your phone?
The following month, in April.
In 2015?
Yes.
So how did you manage to get these?
Shortly after I loaned him the motorcycle loan money,
How did you manage to get these?
I emailed them to myself. And I had concerns that I wasn't going to get paid back at that point. And one night I went through and I emailed some text messages to myself. And then shortly after, he broke
Show me the emails.
Those are, I have them.
No, I want to see them on a machine.
Do you want them on my, I can show you on my phone.
It's taking a long time. I'm having a good time down here, thanks.
That's a shame.
Well, not for me. It gets me out of town.
Your Honor, I have these on my phone, but I would have to go all the way through from...
I have time.
She just said she had plenty of time.
Sir. Don't do that, okay?
Just sir. Your Honor, in regards to that, can I show you my text messages from her recently of her sending me pictures of herself? You know, she's saying all this stuff. Well, I mean, I got my stuff ready right here. So I don't have a huge stack of papers.
It's not your turn yet, Mr. Wood.
Okay.
You have to wait your turn.
Yes, Your Honor.
While she's looking for that, why don't you stand up here? I have a few questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you and Mr. Wood been roommates?
Oh, we've been roommates for, what, 3 years?
Don't look at him. Look at me. How long have you been roommates with Mr. Wood?
We have lived in this residence together for 3 years. Prior to that, we lived in another residence together for 6 years. I've known Mr. Wood for a long time.
And your relationship with him is strictly as a roommate?
It's been other things, but at the time, yes, we're roommates. And at the time that this happened, we...
I got it.
All right, good.
Okay, so you're on and off roommates, on and off social.
Correct.
Are you...
Roommate time for quite a while.
Do you remember going to pick up the motorcycle?
No.
In March?
No, I don't recall this.
Did you ever go and pick up the motorcycle with him?
Yeah, several times.
This motorcycle was where, Miss Wenzel?
Up near Sacramento, California.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't. We would have had to get a trailer to get a motorcycle, and we haven't been in a possession of a trailer for a long time. We normally buy local.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Shh. Do you have a car?
I have a car, yes.
And Mr. Wood not only buys motorcycles, but he rides them.
Correct.
So all you needed was a ride one way. You don't need a trailer because he could ride the motorcycle back.
Not necessarily, because sometimes they're not working.
Well, this one was working because it cost $7,500.
Okay, well...
So this one was working, and it was capable of being driven, because Mr. Wood's not a stupid man, is he?
Well, no.
So he wouldn't spend $7,500 on a non-working motorcycle.
I haven't. I haven't spent $7,500 on a...
Ever?
No. I buy Dynas, Harley Dynas for $5 to $6 grand. I never exceed that because then I can't double my profit, so...
Okay, did we find anything yet?
I'm still, every time I go back, it brings me back up. I have them on here. I emailed them to myself. They're in here. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I would have saved them higher up here if I had known.
Yeah, because this is nothing.
Right.
Other than the email snapshot of your phone, is that what you did and then emailed it to yourself?
Of my broken phone?
Of the text messages,
yes,
Miss Wenzel.
Your Honor.
Is that what you did? You took a photograph of your phone.
I screenshotted it and emailed it to myself.
And you did that because, just for my own information, why would you do that if it was on your phone?
Chris started exhibiting some aggressive behavior towards me, and by the time the first loan payment was due on April 19th of 2015, I called him 2 days prior on the 17th and asked him for the money, and he told me, now's not the time to be asking me for this. I don't have time for this. And my concern immediately was that he was not going to be paying me for the loan.
Okay, now I want you to tell me the date that he destroyed your phone, and then we're going to take a recess. And
He destroyed my phone around the middle of April 2015.
Tell me how.
My phone had gone off, and he picked it up and was reading a text message from a friend and got mad and punched it, and he was wearing a ring.
Which friend?
My friend Jesse.
Okay, we're going to take a break. You're going to go find it, and as soon as you find it, I'm going to come back. Good. Oh, great. Perfect. Just in the nick of time.
I'll start those for you. They're the starred ones right there. She just has to click on it.
I don't want to even touch it. I'm afraid I'll touch it and it'll go.
Where's Dad?
Iced. Would you have her get it back, please?
Your Honor, may I speak while we have a few moments? Having known Chris for so long, I know that he's a really resourceful person. If he hypothetically needed this money to buy a motorcycle, he would figure out a way to make that money.
Sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
He figured out a very resourceful way of getting the money.
Why wouldn't she get a contract written out? I mean, that's what I would do.
Am I addressing you?
No, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You damaged my credit. You didn't loan me any money, you psycho. Okay, well, it certainly appears, sir, that you didn't like each other at some point. Okay. Now I'm going to hear what you have to say. Tell me who you are.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sarah Wenzel says, ex-boyfriend Christopher Wood owes for a loan and for harassment. Christopher is countersuing for window tinting and an exhaust system.
Now, $8,500, right? I'm applying for it right now. That's what I want to see. And he says, yes, babe. Hope he still has the bike. I want to see that on him. Here's what this says on there. Got it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else you want to show me?
Your Honor, I have copies of the payments for the loan during the last year and a half. More recently, I've had to call the local police department for Chris harassing me.
Let's not get into harassment.
Okay.
Let us get into loan. What other proof do you have other than this, which is some evidence that he was happy that you were getting $8,500 and he still hoped that they had the bike? And that was in March of 2015. Let me see what proof you have, if you have any, that he made the first few payments, because he did make payments.
He did, Your Honor. I have copies of the receipts from the bank, from the payments made and the months that he paid me.
Just a second. Did he pay you or did he pay the bank?
He paid me in cash. And then I would go to the bank and make the payment. He refused to go to the bank and make the payment.
How much did he pay you in cash?
$2,800. He made 10 payments.
And what were the monthly payments?
$280.
When did he stop making the payments?
He stopped in December of 15, and then I did receive one payment from him, which is from him.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding that payment in April of 2016.
I just continued to call him and text him, and...
Well, that would be on the new phone.
Right, on my newer phone.
On your newer phone?
Right.
I'd like you to show me some of those texts.
Okay, I have.
On the newer phone.
She texts me a bunch of times harassing me, and I've asked her numerous times to stop texting me.
Your Honor, may I introduce to you my witness?
No, I want you to do exactly what I want, which is to get me the recent texts after April of this year, or even before April when he made the last payment. It was a result of you constantly texting him and trying to get him to make a payment, and that you should have on your new phone.
Scrolling through all the naked pictures sent me.
I'm not looking at your phone, Mr. Wood. You have no cause of action that requires that I look at your phone.
You shouldn't.
So put it away.
I'm reading
Put it away.
Oh, okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Now I'm going to hear your counterclaim.
I paid to get her
Let's
windows
do it
tinted.
and talk fast.
I'm sorry?
Let's do it and talk fast.
That's all. Well, if it wouldn't cut me off, I'd be able to talk fast.
What did he just say?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy's
boyfriend, Christopher Wood, of owing for a loan and harassment. Christopher has a countersuit for window tinting and an exhaust system.
Now, what I'm really interested in, Ms. Wood, since we have a question as to not whether there was a loan, but if ever money was transferred from you to Mr. Wood, I understand that you took out a loan. What I want to see is him acknowledging, other than what I've seen so far, listen to me, I don't need it from you. I need it from him. Do you understand? So sit on your hands. Don't raise your hand again.
Exactly.
Got it? It would have been sometime in March if he paid you in April.
Your Honor, if you click on these are all regarding the loan.
Great. You show it to Bird. He knows how to click. I don't know how to click.
So just click on it and then you can arrow back. So the first one is from, you can just go through here.
Things were going so well. I'm not touching it.
Okay.
You didn't loan me any money, you psycho. I don't have a loan through you. I loaned you money, and in February and March, plus $6,500 you owe for the loan. You've damaged my credit. You didn't loan me any money, you psycho. Is there a thing here? Didn't loan you any money. Okay, well, it certainly appears, sir, that you didn't like each other at some point. Okay. Now I'm going to hear what you have to say. Tell me who you are.
My name's Christina, and I've worked with Sarah for 10 years. I witnessed Mr. Wood twice in the summer of 2015 come by our office. One time I was inside, and I witnessed him hand her money out the driver's window of his pickup. She went right after that and told me she was running to make the loan payment. And I also witnessed him come into our office one day, and she said, "Do you have my money for the loan payment?" And he said, "Later, afterwards."
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I've gone to her work numerous times. She gives me boxes of gloves at a wholesale cost.
Yeah,
I pay
the
for
money.
gloves. No. No. Okay. I don't owe her any money.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
You do.
Yeah.
You owe the rest of the loan. Now I'm going to hear your counterclaim.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now I'm going to hear your counterclaim.
I paid to get her
Let's
windows.
just-
Oh, well, it wouldn't cut me off. I'd be able to talk fast.
What did he just say?
If you didn't cut him off, maybe he'd talk fast.
Okay, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Your counterclaim is dismissed.
Wow.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Good move.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He became aggressive. He didn't want to contact me.
I stopped talking to her. She got mad. She got her feelings hurt.
He would block my cell phone number, my work number, my home number.
She got a 5-year-old that looked up to me. I didn't want anything to do with her.
He insisted on putting a muffler on my car so he could hear my vehicle as I would pull in and out of our cul-de-sac.
Brought in my evidence, but kind of bit the bullet at the end, so.
He would watch me from cameras inside his home, and he stalked me.
Should have kept my mouth closed towards the end.
He preyed upon me. He's that kind of person.
She's my neighbor. She rents, I own. She should move out.
I am just gonna stick to my gut feeling and move on.
I'm just glad it's done and over with.
You did the right thing by taking her to court. She should be paying child support.
An ex-wife comes up short.
How do you support yourself?
I just got laid off, so I am unemployed right now.
A dad grows impatient.
She was paying regularly.
When she lost her job.
No, she was still working.
And the new wife has to have her say.
There had been a decline in her behavior.
I don't think it's a good idea for you to discuss that.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Gary Copeland is suing his ex-wife, Denisha Copeland, for her share of their son's extracurricular activities and orthodontic bills.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 254 on the calendar in the matter of Copeland versus Copeland.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Copeland, the defendant is your former wife.
Yes.
You have 2 children, and according to what I read, you were divorced in 2006.
Yes.
How old are your children now?
My oldest one, Robert's 17, and Xavier's 14.
And when you divorced, Robert lived with you?
No, he was living with the grandmother. I was incarcerated.
When did Robert come to live with you?
December 2011.
And your other son?
Xavier, he moved in with me of May of last year.
Prior to that, was he living with his mother?
Yeah.
And in your divorce, was there any mention of child support?
No.
Were you incarcerated at the time of the divorce?
Yes.
Okay, so what was the date of your release?
July of 2007.
Haven't been back?
Nope.
Good for you. Okay, this is what the case is about. I assume that neither one of you has, over the course of the last 10 years, paid child support to the other. Is that correct?
No.
Have you paid child support to her? No.
No.
And you have not paid child support to him?
No.
Each of you had one child living with you, and that sounded like a reasonable thing to do. You took care of your son's expenses, of Xavier's expenses, and you took care of Robert's expenses. Reasonable. But last year, Xavier decided he wanted to live with you. And they're both in high school. This is what the case is about, and have many extracurricular activities. And Xavier had some dental expenses.
Robert did.
Robert had some dental expenses. And according to you, your former wife agreed to split those expenses with you, because now you have both boys living with you. And that's what you're suing for, half of those expenses, which are a little over $2,000. I'm going to start with you, Mrs. Copeland. How do you support yourself?
I just got laid off. I was working at Save Mart. I was a clerical worker. I was there for 3 years, but they just closed that company down, so I am unemployed right now.
As of what date?
August 18th.
You receive unemployment insurance benefits?
I have not received it yet, so I'm waiting. But I will be getting it, but I have not received it at all
Who do you
yet.
live with?
I live by myself.
What's your rent?
My rent is $700 a month.
How'd you manage to pay your rent in September?
Well, I'm not going to have my apartment anymore, so I gave a 60-day notice, so, because I'm not going to be able to pay it.
Where are you moving?
That I don't know yet.
You have an idea.
I think I'm probably going to share, rent a room from somebody, because I do not have the money. I'm going to go back to school, so they're going to pay, EDD is going to pay for me to go to school, so.
Have you tried to find another job?
Well,
since August?
I'm going to go to school. The EDD is offering, since it was such a major layoff, they're offering to pay for us to go to school. So I want to go to learn how to take blood to be a phlebotomist. That's what I'm going to go into.
And how are you going to support yourself while you do that?
I'll get unemployment while I'm going to school. And the class that I want to take to be a phlebotomist is not very long. It's like a 4-month class before I could get my certificate. So that's what I plan on doing.
Did you discuss that with your former husband?
We really don't talk much.
Do you see both Xavier and Robert?
Yeah, I'm supposed to get them on the 2nd and 4th weekend of the month. Although usually when it's my time to see Robert, since he's 17, he has a job, he has a girlfriend, he usually has things to do, and so he doesn't come much.
And Xavier?
Xavier comes, he comes.
When Copeland about sharing expenses, what month?
May of last year, when Xavier moved in with me.
So he was with you September of 2015, October of 2015,
all during the summer,
November, December, the entire 2015, and part of 2016. So you did have expenses. Tell me when you first asked Mrs. Copeland to pay any of those expenses.
As soon as they started arising.
Well, let me see. Do you have anything in writing?
It's all labeled, and the pages are behind it. It's all the receipts.
No, I'm not looking for the receipts. I'm asking you when, Mr. Copeland, you first said to her, because then she was working in 2015, when you first said to her, I need to pay some of these expenses.
June 3rd, that's when she made the first payment, so that's basically when she's...
Your Honor, if I may approach the bench.
Just a second.
Okay.
See, on the very bottom, those are when she made the payments. She was paying, had a good communication, she was paying regularly, coming $20 here, $100 here, and then just stopped. Everything just stopped.
When did it stop?
That last payment, August 9th.
August of this year?
Yeah.
When she lost her job?
No, she was still working.
And she's currently working.
She's currently working right now.
Where?
Can I send more evidence right here?
Absolutely.
These are the screenshots where she's working. These are the ads she's working. And here's the screenshots. Just have a screenshot up. A lot of the days she's supposed to pick up the boys, those are the dates she's, just scroll up. Those are all the days she's been doing it. And that's how she's been supporting herself, I believe.
Could be. Should return this. This is what I'm going to suggest that you do, Mr. Copeland. You see, what you're doing is you're coming to me, you and your former wife made an agreement instead of going to family court and saying, well, we each don't have a child living with us anymore. What we have is we have me taking care of both boys. So I need a formal order, or we can work it out. If you went to family court and got a formal order, if she was working, and she was working then, she would have had to have paid a certain amount of money to you for the support of both children. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You chose to deal with this in another way, independently, which is fine. And she was paying you bits of money, 20 here, 40 here, 100 here. But at this point, she's coming in and she's saying to me, I have no regular source of income. And if you were in family court, she would be making a request for the while she's unemployed, or take a certain amount of money from her unemployment insurance every week, which you would be entitled to. What kind of work do you do?
Maintenance worker.
You work for the same company?
No.
Explain that to me.
Prior to the beginning of the year, I was working the refineries. That's like a contractor's job, you know, off and on. So I got hired on as a maintenance worker at a bottling plant. So I full-time.
And you're remarried?
Yeah.
This is your wife?
Yes.
She works?
Yep.
You have any other children other than these two boys?
Yep.
How old are they?
7, 9, and 10.
And the 7, 10, and 9-year-olds are your biological
Just
children?
the youngest one.
Just the 7-year-old?
Yeah.
And the 9 and 10-year-old are yours from previous marriage, but you work?
Yes, I do work.
So it's very nice that you want to go to school, and I think it's probably a very wise idea. But you will be collecting unemployment, and this is the path that you chose. You have to pay him money out of your unemployment insurance every week. Well, how much do you intend to pay him?
I have no problem giving anything. Like, he's going after me for child support. I have to go to court on November. I just received that in the mail, too. So I'll be going to child support court on November 16th, I believe. I'm going to child support. Oh, yeah, 15th of November.
That will be taken care of? Yes.
I'm on a divorce for November. This is from stuff from behind us. The child support is a whole different thing.
No, it isn't.
No?
No.
Okay.
No, it isn't.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I certainly hope that the court sets an amount that's reasonable, because they should be able to rely on you contributing to the support of your minor children. Going back to school is very nice, but you have children and you have a responsibility to them.
And later today,
you said you got pulled over and you got a ticket for having the baby in the wrong kind of a car restraint. You didn't say anything. It was your fault that brought the car's attention to the state trooper to begin with.
Yeah.
You left that out.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Gary Copeland says ex-wife Denisha Copeland owes for her share of their 17-year-old son's expenses.
Now, if she was paying you consistently until she lost her job, which your memo, which you prepared for this case, seems to indicate, and she was, in fact, contributing something until her circumstance changed, and that was well over a year, right? You're going to have to go to court and get an order of support. And you can ask the court to make it retroactive to a date in August.
Okay.
And they will fix what they do. But I'm not getting involved with, I just bought Xavier a jacket and your portion of the jacket is $25. I mean, you did the right thing by taking her to court. She should be paying child support. Your wife has children, she works, she contributes to their support. Well, so did she.
Can I approach the bench?
Sure. No, don't approach the bench. You can stand there.
Okay, thank you.
No, there.
Okay, so the reason that we had started to document this and the reason that we are coming here today is because the payments were never consistent. Just to give you an example, Robert had his braces that were coming up. The down payment was $500. I had given her a 6-month period to make that payment, which we had never received a payment towards that in 6 months.
So why didn't you go back to court then?
Because there was never a court order.
But that's what you're doing now.
Well, yeah, so that's what happened. So the verbal agreement was working very well for us. We were having a very good open communication. We were receiving payments, okay? That is correct. 8 months ago, we noticed that there had been a decline in her behavior. We were doing things as a family prior to that. It came abruptly to a stop. Her behavior changed 8 months ago. 4 months ago, it was complete stop of making the payments and the communication. That's why we're here today, is because we are now dealing with financial responsibility of the braces, which was...
Is what you're really talking about, the braces? Because I'm telling you, I'm not getting involved in a... Fine. Let's talk about the braces.
Okay.
Who were the braces for?
Robert.
Now, Robert was initially your responsibility.
Yeah.
He's lived with you. When did you have the discussion with your former wife about the braces for Robert?
January.
January.
January of this year?
Yep.
How much were the braces?
Here, braces.
Mrs. Copeland, how much were the braces?
I believe they were like 2,000 and something, which I have medical. I have Kaiser for the next 3 months. Even though I got laid off, I still have medical. And my Kaiser paid for some of those braces.
Just a second.
But I think it's like 2,000, something
Just
like
a second.
that.
Were the braces $2,000?
$5,800.
I'd like to see it.
That's the additional cost.
Now, you had a discussion with her in January. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did any of her insurance cover any portion of the braces?
Yes, it did.
How much?
$1,200. It's right there on the paper.
I have insurance as well that covers them.
So it was double insurance.
Yes.
Okay. So your out-of-pocket expenses were half of this $5,800.
Yes.
Did you make any payments whatsoever other than insurance?
I believe that I did come and bring Gary some money for the braces. I don't know if it was like when I made like the $100 and something payment, but it was something towards something a month I was supposed to give them, and I did go and take Gary a payment.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You say she took the citation from me and reiterated that she would pay it. But it wasn't her ticket, it was your ticket.
Yeah.
But you needed the citation to pay the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. What, am I talking to myself?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Gary Copeland says ex-wife Denisha Copeland owes for her share of their 17-year-old son's expenses.
Okay, let us say that she owes half of what the balance was, which was $2,400 after insurance, which would bring her portion down to $1,200. Did she make any payments towards the $1,200?
The one payment.
For?
$68 she gave me.
And that's what you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your child support obligations are going to be fixed by a court in November. I certainly hope that the court sets an amount that's reasonable, but it should be consistent because they should be able to rely on you contributing to the support of your minor children, no different from if you were a guy who decided to go back to school. Going back to school is very nice, but you have children and you have a responsibility to them. I think that the unreimbursed dental costs for your son, because that's evidenced by the fact that you said, I did make a payment, right? Your portion was $1,200. If you made a $67 payment, the balance is $1,133, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff. They're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I believe that she made the right decision.
I'm happy with the decision.
I just think they're kind of money hungry right now.
For the kids, I go without and she don't.
When my kids turn 18, I don't have to deal with him anymore.
I'm happy with that.
Really choose who you have your kids with, because you have to deal with them for the rest of your life.
Do what's right for the kids and don't worry about the eggs.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Berry versus Russell. Step forward.
21-year-old Asia Berry is suing her former friend, 20-year-old Onisha Russell, for an unpaid traffic ticket and late fees.
Miss Berry, do you have any children?
No, ma'am.
And Miss Russell is a friend of yours. She does?
Yes.
She has one child?
One child.
A baby?
A baby.
How old?
She's 2 at the moment. No, actually 3 now.
Some time ago, you and Miss Russell were going someplace. Where were you going?
We was going to pay a deposit for an apartment we was getting ready to move into.
Did you ever move into that apartment together?
Yes.
How long did you live together?
About a good 3 months. I moved out because she's very controlling.
When you were going to make the deposit, according to you, your car.
Yes.
So tell me, what did you use as a car seat?
It was like a little mini mouse, like a little high chair booster. It's like both. It's a high chair and a booster seat at the moment.
It's a high chair.
Mm-hmm.
What happened is you got pulled over by the police?
Yes.
For what?
For driving slow in a fast lane.
Did you get a ticket for that?
I did.
How much was the ticket?
I don't recall, Your Honor.
Did you pay the ticket?
Yes, along with her ticket.
Just a second. You paid your ticket?
Yes.
When did you pay your ticket?
The same time I paid the whole ticket.
No, that's not my question. When did you pay the ticket?
February 24, 2016.
When were you supposed to pay it?
30 days prior to the time.
So you had penalties?
Yeah.
A lot of penalties?
I did.
And all those penalties together added up to what amount?
$485, and I believe 63 cents.
Was that for both tickets?
Yes.
Okay. You got pulled over for driving too slow, but you also got a ticket for having her baby in the wrong kind of car seat.
Yes.
And that ticket was given to you
yes.
as the driver of the car.
Yes.
How many pieces of paper did the police officer give you?
1.
For both tickets?
Yeah.
So now you are going to explain to me why you're suing her for $900.
Her unpaid ticket and late fees, but I also know half of those tickets belong to me.
I wouldn't have known that unless I asked you that question, because you didn't say anything about that in your complaint.
Yeah.
You said you got pulled over and you got a ticket for having the baby in the wrong kind of a car restraint.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't say anything. It was your fault that brought the car's attention to the state trooper to begin with.
Yeah.
You left that out.
Mm-hmm.
And you just told me that both tickets together with fines and penalties were $485.
Yeah.
And it was all on one ticket. So
Yeah.
when you said here, and I may be wrong, you say she took the citation from me and reiterated that she would pay it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't her ticket, it was your ticket.
Yeah. But she told me she would pay for her child's part of the ticket because it's her child.
Just a second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the whole ticket. You say she took the citation from me.
Yeah.
And said, well, you needed the citation to pay the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. What, am I talking to myself?
No.
Where's the $985?
With the late fees I paid.
Show me. I thought you said it was $485.
Here's the $485 I paid for the late fees.
Yes,
and here is the ticket I paid for St. John Parish.
I don't know if these are two different amounts.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I don't know what this is for. They're both on the date of the notice is February 24th, 2016.
That's the papers the DMV gave me.
Okay. I can't help you. Not only can I help you, I don't want to help you. The reason that the car was pulled over is because you were not driving properly.
Mm-hmm.
You also, as the owner of the car, are responsible to see to it that a child who was in your car is in an appropriate seat.
But she's the mother. I assume she strapped her down securely. I don't have no children, Your Honor.
Well, if you're going to take a child in your car, you better know what kind of car seat you're required to have.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Good, because I have no idea what her portion of the ticket is, nor do you, because there was one ticket.
Yeah.
Do you have any indication of what her portion of the ticket is?
No.
Good. Makes my job so much easier. Thank you. We're done.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I feel she should be responsible of her child. I think it was very fair because at the end of the day, she should have came with the correct paperwork. And she should have put a deal with her. I don't care about her. It's a done deal. I'm done.
She has constantly, every single day, complained about something.
The plaintiff had enough. Your son made mistakes.
A family contracting business with a shaky foundation.
I said he's inexperienced and he needs help, were my exact words.
And building good relations isn't their thing.
I also got, I'm glad you're so perfect that you've never made a mistake in your life.
Exactly that.
I understand what she's up against, just from the way you're behaving.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Elaine Davis is suing contractors Jean-Michel Bureau and his son Michael for faulty workmanship and reimbursement for additional contractors.
Order. All rise.
Now it's case number 271 on the calendar in the matter of Davis versus Bureau.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Ms. Davis, you hired the defendant, the senior Mr. Bureau, to do sort of a reconstruction of a bathroom. You hired the defendant, you did good ways, and you want a whole lot of money from him for a whole lot of things that you're really not entitled to. Mr. Bureau has a counterclaim, smacks of extortion and other things. So I have to satisfy myself that you have been made whole, even if you were dissatisfied. Tell me when you hired Mr. Bureau.
I hired Mr. Bureau towards the end of March, I believe was the date.
Of this year?
Yes.
And it was the bathroom that you were supposed to do, Mr. Bureau, is that correct?
Absolutely.
And when you went to see Ms. Davis, who did you go with?
Initially, I went by myself.
In March?
In March, yes.
Did you go back to see the premises again?
Yes.
Before the work started?
Oh, absolutely.
You did?
Absolutely, twice.
When?
Came in initially for an estimate, came in
That's
and
March
made an agreement.
16.
Yes.
That's March. When did you come back?
It was end of March, and then again at the beginning of April when the permits were issued.
When you came at the end of March, who did you come with?
When I came at the end of March?
At the end of
I
March.
came up by myself.
And when the permits were issued, what was the purpose of that visit?
Permits must be dropped onto the property and left onto the property from the time they're issued.
Okay, so
at
that was
day,
just
I went
a
from
drop
Norman,
off.
I went from the city hall to there and dropped them off directly.
Alone?
No, actually, Michael was with me when I dropped off the permits.
Did he go in and meet Miss Davis?
Yes, he did.
Is that the first time that you had met the son?
It would have been, yes.
How much was the job supposed to cost?
$8,500.
And how much money did you actually pay Mr. Biro?
75% up front. I believe it's $6,300 and maybe $25.
He gave you back some money at some point?
Correct.
How much did he give you back?
$2,000.
So you actually, so far, are out of pocket $4,300.
Correct.
When did the work commence on the property?
The last week of April, I believe.
Is that correct?
It was May 3rd.
So approximately a month later.
Yes.
Why did it take so long for the work to commence?
Once we got the permitting, we put it on our schedule. We have lots of work. We've been in business since 1958 without any problems.
He hasn't been in business since 1958.
Our family has been.
He has not been in business since 1958.
Our family has been in business since 1958.
He has not in
I've taken over the business in 1971, and my son is now running it with me.
He has not been in business since 1958, is my statement.
He wasn't born in 1958.
Correct. Now, on May the 1st, who showed up at Miss Davis's house?
Both of us, along with two employees.
Did you work?
Yes, I did.
And did the two other employees work?
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is not correct.
Who showed up on May 1st?
It was April 25th, and John came with a helper.
John, what was the date that you asked them to leave?
I believe it was the 26th of May.
The 23rd.
Okay.
Between May the 1st, when the project started, and May 23rd, how many men were on site?
Michael was there with a helper on the days that he worked. There was one other gentleman that they had who came in behind them, like to do cleanup on the days that they were there, and then John himself.
How many days was the father there?
Well, that's John himself, and I would say maybe 3-4 days.
Now, you want to tell me why you stopped the work on May 23rd?
After a series of incidents and rude behavior at my home.
Explain what the rude behavior was.
All right. First incident was they came to work at my house, and
Who's the they?
Michael and his helper, and
Who was the helper?
Guy Joe that we had hired at the time. He doesn't work with us no more.
He doesn't work with you anymore.
No,
and how long had he worked with you at the time that you started Miss Davis's job?
For maybe a month.
So you were dissatisfied with his service. That's why he was terminated.
Yes, ma'am. Well, he left himself. I didn't fire him.
Okay. Continue.
Okay. They were wandering around in my backyard, and I said, hey, what are you guys doing out there? The job is inside the house. And he said, well, I'm out here looking for a water spigot. I said, well, why didn't you ask me? And his father said, what the hell did you think we were going to do, steal something? Don't you know we have more money than she has? And I thought, wow.
Not at all.
I didn't know if that was a dry sense of humor or it was just rudeness, but the job had just gotten started. I let it go. Second incident was they spent a day and a half putting a new ceiling up in the bathroom and then realized they forgot to put the insulation in. I brought it to his attention.
Just a second. Who was there when that happened?
Michael and his helper, Joe, as he's named him now.
All right, Michael, let's start with the ceiling. Did you put up a new ceiling?
Yes, we did.
Did you have to take it down to put in the insulation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And on what date did that happen?
Couldn't honestly tell you.
Was that at the beginning of the job?
Around the 14th.
Around the 14th.
Okay.
If I want you to answer me, I'll ask you to answer me.
Okay.
Now, can you tell me why you didn't put in the insulation?
We just slipped our mind. And
okay, so it was a mistake.
It was a 10-minute mistake.
Just a second. It was a mistake.
Yes, ma'am.
What's next?
Second issue was part of this rehab job was renovating a closet in the same room to accommodate a washer and dryer. And they put in a new wall to accommodate it and framed it out new and put new piping. The pipes don't fit in the wall. They protrude out of the wall, and they can't be fixed because they were concreted in the floor.
Who concreted them in the floor?
Michael.
Michael, she has photographs of this, I'm sure, to show me. Do you know what she's talking?
Was inside the wall. I did not see any pipes sticking out of the wall. We didn't have any problem with pipes sticking out of the wall.
Did she ever bring that to your attention?
No, ma'am.
I'd like to see a photograph of it. Do you remember framing out the closet, Michael?
Yes, ma'am.
You had to reset piping for the washer and dryer?
Yes, ma'am. We had a plumber come in and do our plumbing work.
And did they have to be cemented in? Who did the cement work?
I did, ma'am.
plumbers just did the piping.
Yes, ma'am. Now, we did not have to frame that whole wall. That wall was an existing wall. We just had to put a couple more studs inside that wall.
Well, this is what she's talking about. Would you show that to me?
I haven't seen it.
It's probably the clean out.
Oh, the drain.
Drain?
Yeah. I was there for the drain. I was there when the plumber did the work for the drain. It was explained to her because of the way the plumbing was set up that that drain would actually have to come out into the room to be able to make the connection. And it would not interfere with the washer and dryer being able to go in, so we would put a cabinet into that area when we were finished to cover that pipe up so it would not be exposed.
So the pipe was exposed?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, first
The pipe was exposed. I'm the one that framed that wall and turned the board sideways for the dryer to fit in.
What you're saying is that you later told her why it was protruding.
Before we even put the wall together, yes.
You had that conversation?
No.
What's next?
Last thing was, into the last week of the job, they spent 3 days putting tile up. The room's only 6 by 9, and we weren't even halfway done with the tile. They came back Monday morning. It was a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They came back Monday morning, and I hear them in there taking the tile back off the wall. I said, what are we doing? And Michael said, I forgot to put the rubber liner in, which should have went in before the walls, for the ceiling.
So, Michael, now we're talking about in the bathroom.
Yes, ma'am.
Needs a rubber lining.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you forget to put that in before you put the tile up?
I was actually leaving the tiles 8 inches up. The liner goes 6 inches. And yes, I set a couple tiles low, and I had to pop a total of 4 tiles off of the wall.
Whether you popped 4 tiles off of 40, did you forget to put up the liner before you put up the 4 tiles? Is
Yes,
the
ma'am.
question. So the answer is yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She refused to let me take the tools and go do a different job.
And she forced us to go get $2,000 cash and locked our tools in the bedroom and extorted.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Elaine Davis says contractors Jean-Michel Bureau and his son Michael owe for faulty workmanship and the cost to hire additional contractors. The defendants are countersuing for extortion.
Okay. Mr. Brio, the plaintiff had enough. Your son made 2 mistakes in this renovation. I don't know whether I would have halted the job, but she felt as if she was sufficiently concerned. I can actually understand that because the first thing was the ceiling, and if the ceiling had gone up and she hadn't been there to notice that there was no insulation, you wouldn't know that. Once the ceiling is up, I assume the ceiling is up. You don't know whether there's insulation behind it, above it, or not. And this, you can uncross your arms, Michael. How old are you?
33.
All right. He gave you back $2,000.
Yes, and Judge, can I explain to you, I didn't halt the job at that point. What I did was halt the workers. I said, stop what you're doing, go outside. I need to talk to your boss. Because I'd already had several conversations with John. Can't you come and work on this job? I hired you to work on this job. Nope, this is what I got. Michael's the best I've got. I said, well, we have problems, okay? He's inexperienced, you're ignorant to him. He said, nope, I can't, no, I can't. So I stopped the job. They called him. He called me on the phone. He came to my home. We sat down at my kitchen table, and I said, can you not come and finish this job yourself? He said, no, I can't. I said, can you get me 2 other qualified people to come and finish this job? He said, not for 3 or 4 more weeks. I said, then we're done. I have to stop the job now because I don't have that much more time.
Just a second. I don't blame you because I get from his attitude right here that this was the reaction he had with you.
Yes, and I also got, I'm glad you're so perfect that you've never made a mistake in your life.
Okay. I got
Exactly that. She never made a mistake in his life. He put up the drywall on the ceiling and saw the insulation there. She never came and told him that. He saw the insulation there. He unscrewed the drywall and put the the insulation into the ceiling without her.
Do you understand,
but she walked in and noticed
what she's up against? I understand what she's up against.
Well, maybe.
I understand
Now,
just from the way you're behaving.
No.
Just
Don't
the
go
way
there.
you're behaving here, I understand what
But
she
you
was
haven't
up
asked me,
against.
and I'm the general contractor. I'm the one responsible for the
listen
job.
to me.
And I was on the job working a lot more than what she said. I was on the job 16 days.
First of all, I'd like to see what the room looks like now. Your problem, Mr. Brio, is that she hired you. She didn't hire your 33-year-old son who made you off the job. She called you and she said to you, I'm really dissatisfied with what's going on in the house, and I would really like it if you could come and finish this job. And you said exactly what you said. You've never made a mistake?
That is an absolute lie.
You just said it to me today.
No, I never said that I had told her, have you ever made a mistake?
You mean you asked
That is
me if
not
I ever
true.
made a mistake? The words came out of your mouth. Am I crazy?
Yeah, maybe. But it did not come out that way. I came back to the job. She had 3 people sitting at the table and says, I want you off my job.
Okay.
And she refused to let me take the tools and go to a different job that I had going on that I needed to work on,
And
too.
she forced us to go get our tool, go get $2,000 cash, and locked our tools in the bedroom so we couldn't get our tools out of the house, and extorted that money from us to get her tools.
Good for her.
Well, good for her.
No,
don't,
because
you don't do
I
anything.
could see from your attitude, sir, that she does not present as a hothead. She really doesn't.
Excuse me?
She doesn't present. Well, then your problem is
On every
you're
single day,
deceiving.
she was yelling about something. I have a whole email, a text mail list here that you're welcome to read as evidence in this, that she has constantly, every single day, complained about something.
Mr. Brio,
Even
she's
before we
entitled-
were
Don't
supposed to
you
be there.
understand? What you're doing with me suggests to me that you don't even recognize that you have a problem.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why would you buy grab bars for her on the 24th?
Originally, those grab bars were for her job.
You bought them
I
on the
did not- I
24th
did-
after you had a major kerfuffle on her property, and you went and bought grab bars at Home
Yes, ma'am.
Depot for her? Oh, please.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Elaine Davis has accused contractor Jean-Michel Bureau and his son Michael of faulty workmanship and owing for the cost to hire additional contractors.
Now you agreed to pay him $8,500 to complete the job.
Correct.
How much did you pay other people for the job that you contracted for him to do for $8,500? How much did you pay other people to do that job?
$14,000.
So you were getting a big bargain from him.
No, it wasn't a big bargain. Most of their work that was done had to be undone and then started over again.
I want you to show me where they had to undo the pipes that he put in.
Well, the pipes couldn't be undone.
Okay. Don't say. Show me the pipes that had to come out. They did not.
No.
Correct. Okay. The ceiling, did it come? And the fittings for the closet, and the ceiling is in.
Yes.
Okay. So that he's entitled to get paid for.
Okay.
Right?
They did that work.
And for that work, how much money did they get paid? $4,300.
Yes.
What other work of theirs remained?
Oh, a lot.
Remained.
Remained.
Well, then you hired somebody very expensive to do the bathroom for $8,500. You tell me what had to be taken down.
Well, in lieu of them not putting the liner in behind the walls that were already done and the ceiling was done, they had to use a hydro barrier and a different type of material to create a rubber barrier, which was very expensive. The tile guy alone was $4,500.
$5.
If you don't install the liner prior to the rest of the work, then you have to take a different route, and there is a
Liner
letter.
mounts to the outside of the wall. It doesn't. The liner does not go behind the wall. It goes on the outside of the wall, and the tile goes over the top of the liner. So she didn't have to remove anything off the wall to put the liner on.
Correct.
This is a bill from his plumber to finish the plumbing work.
I'd like to see it. Oh, well, that's a small bill. That's $260.
Yeah, that's a small bill. Here's the bigger. This is the tile guy with a letter that he just wrote me.
I don't want to see his letter. I want to see his paid bill. That was $4,500. What else?
The electrician to finish the electrical work for the new washer and dryer that had to get run outside the 220.
Just a second. Was that part of your job description?
Yes, it was, but it was at the electrical to be ran after the job, after we got past the point we were at.
That's not my question. For the
Yes, it was part of the
$8,500
$8,500.
that you did not do.
No, we supplied all the material to do the job. We left the material there on the job when we left. We supplied the material. We supplied the wire. We supplied the conduit. We supplied the boxes and a massive other materials that were left on the job. Excuse me. Sorry.
Good. Do you have the bills for those things that you left?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at them.
Okay.
That probably is the best way to go, because right now I want to see that.
Can I say one thing?
No, just show me the bills.
Probably 50%.
Just show me the bills.
Okay.
Paid bills.
They're on their way. Here you go.
The things that you left there. Mr. Brio, what was the last day that you were on property? Mr. Brio, what was the last day you were on property?
What was the last day?
No, May 23rd.
May 23rd.
May 23rd.
Yes.
On May 24th.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, why would you show me a bill for something you bought for her on May 24th?
It was billed to me on May 24th.
No,
ma'am.
the Home Depot.
Oh, then I...
Then you what?
Sorry.
Then you what?
Then I slipped that one in.
Yes, you slipped
By
them
mistake.
in. You slipped one in, I don't know
By
what else you
absolute
slipped
mistake,
in.
ma'am. No, it was an absolute mistake. I also have
Just a second.
the
Do you want to-
demolition of the
just a second.
property took 2 weeks.
Am I speaking?
Yes. No, I didn't know. I thought you stopped. I'm sorry.
Would you show him the receipt for May 24th?
Yeah, let me see what that receipt was for. Grab bars.
Why would you buy grab bars for her
Huh?
on the 24th?
Originally, those grab bars were for her job.
You bought them
I
on the
did not- I
24th
did-
after you had a major kerfuffle on her property where the police were called. And you went and bought grab bars at Home
Yes, ma'am.
Depot for her? Oh, please, give me a
Yes,
break.
ma'am. I
Okay.
ordered them.
Your
I
counterclaim
paid-
is
wait a
dismissed.
minute.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,300. We're done.
So the extortion, none of that matters.
And on the next Judge Judy.
We've been extorted.
Just putting up with their attitudes, they showed it.
Police never got recalled.
It did end with the police, and it did end with a 911.
That lady put her hands on me and punched me in her house.
After I escorted him out of my home, he came rushing back in. We met, and as he came around, I went like that, and I popped him right in his chest. Yes, I did.
We have never had a major complaint of any kind.
The son is so inexperienced, it's a shame.
This is the first major complaint we've ever had.
The bathroom is finished, thank God.
Do you know how the horse was injured? It had a large hole in its chest.
Tragedy in her unsafe stables.
You really had the responsibility to call a vet, but it's her responsibility to pay.
She never called, text, nothing, zero.
She said to you, you're not getting the horse unless you give me so much money.
Then a horse owner starts trotting out excuses.
She doesn't have a permit to run a boarding stable.
When did you have this epiphany? When you had a problem?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Janice Tickle is suing Sarah Joint for vet bills, boarding and hauling fees, and ransom money paid for.
Now it's case number 290 on the calendar in the matter of Tickle versus Joint.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Ms. Tickle, you boarded a horse at the defendant's facility and you claimed the horse was injured while at that facility.
Yes, Your Honor.
And in addition, that when you tried to get the horse from the facility, the defendant sort of held the horse ransom because she claimed that you owed her money.
Yes.
And I read her answer, and her answer is clear. She said that the horse was, in fact, injured at her facility, correct?
Yes.
And that she immediately called your vet, correct?
Yes.
And that your vet said that in order for your vet to come out to look at the horse, she would have to pay a past due bill of yours in addition to that visit that the vet would make. So what's the name of your vet?
It's one of my vets. It's Dr.
The vet that you called?
Dr. Purdue, who's the person she indicated on the boarding agreement as her vet of record.
Fine. On what date was the horse injured?
September 7th.
Okay. Now, on September 7th, did you owe Dr. Purdue money? That's very easy. I can make a call.
Yes, Your Honor.
How much money did you owe Dr. Purdue?
$280.
How long did you owe Dr. Purdue the $280? You pay the doctor their bill.
I had sold my house and had moved.
Well,
and
okay. You didn't pay the bill. Okay, so
Right.
she's absolutely correct. Called the doctor. The doctor said she owes me money. I'm not coming out to see this horse unless you pay what she owes me plus the visit.
Which was $900, not $250.
Not $280.
Not $280. It was $900. That's what they told me. And it was a year in arrears.
Now, on September 7th, did Miss Tickle owe you any money for boarding the horse?
Yes, she had not paid September's board, which was due on the 1st.
Did she pay August's bill?
She did, but I think it was late.
But she paid August's bill, so by September 7th, she really wasn't that much delayed.
Not too late, no. But she had disappeared, and the horse was supposed to be picked up on September 1st, and I hadn't heard from her and couldn't reach her.
Just a second. When you say the horse was supposed to be picked up, what does that mean?
She advised me sometime in July that the horse was going to be picked up on September 1st. But I never heard from her. She never showed up. Nothing happened. She never called, text, nothing, zero. I thought the horse had been abandoned.
Okay. Now, on September 1st, had you made an arrangement, because I read your complaint, to transfer the horse to another facility that was closer? That's what you say, so be careful your answer.
Right. The date, though, is incorrect. It was an oral statement that
I don't care if it's oral or not. Did you tell her that you were going to be picking up the horse on September 1st because, according to me, that was much closer to me? Because you told her
but
that.
Not on, I said I need to find the right facility. My horse has known allergies, which she gets hives, Your Honor, that are all over her body, and it's a health problem. The hives break open. She's not able to lay down. They get
So
infected.
why didn't you pay your vet?
I paid my vet when I got the bill. There was
you
a problem
didn't.
with my getting mail to my new address. So
when did you move?
I moved in August, put everything in storage. In September, I moved into...
Well, this bill was due in December,
Right,
according
this
to
was
you.
in
So you would have
December.
gotten it January, February, March, April, May. You would have gotten the bill.
Right, Your Honor,
Okay.
usually I was present when the vet would come out. This is the first time a vet has ever seen my horse. I've owned her 10 years without me being present.
Ms.
I
Tickle,
have
let's go. How much did you pay the defendant when you went to pick up the horse?
When I went to pick up the horse on...
Yes, in September.
When I actually picked her up in September,
How much did you pay her? Well, let me go back.
Okay.
Ms. Joint, how much was her monthly boarding fee?
$325.
So she owed you that in September?
She owed me that, yes.
Okay. Now, do you know how the horse was injured? It had a large hole in its chest.
I have no idea how the horse was injured. No one was there, no one saw it. It's impossible to know. Horses, unfortunately, injure themselves quite regularly in their paddocks, and you don't know necessarily how they did it.
Horse's injury.
What I wrote about it.
Did you have a log, I assume, that you keep with regard to the horses that you board?
I don't board horses regularly. This was a one-off situation. She was a companion horse for my horse because another horse went away, so they didn't like being alone. But it's not a regular thing. It's kind of like a roommate situation.
Do you have a contract?
Yes.
I'd like to look at it.
Okay.
Your Honor.
What?
I met the defendant because she advertised a stall for rent, boarding stalls in Craigslist.
How long did you keep your horse there?
From January 13th, 2014 until
So it was there for a
September.
very long time, and
Yes.
clearly you were satisfied.
Yes.
Otherwise, you would have moved it.
Right. Everything was fine up until I got hurt.
Okay. This is your contract. And this says that if the horse becomes injured, which the horse clearly was, that it's your responsibility to first try to contact the boarder.
Which I did desperately.
Just a second. That's fine. And the second thing that you do is, if you can't contact her, she gives you permission to contact her vet.
Correct.
Which you did.
Correct.
If the boarder's veterinarian is unavailable, the boarder authorizes the stable to call its veterinarian in an emergency, and that the boarder will be fully responsible for all veterinary charges so incurred. But it's her responsibility to pay.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Correct. So the part of your request for vet bills, she's not responsible for those pursuant to this contract. You are.
Right, Your Honor, but her boarding contract, she doesn't have a home occupational permit to run a boarding stable in Simi Valley, and that's required to...
Hey, you kept the horse there for 9 months.
Right.
When did you have this epiphany that she wasn't allowed to do what she was doing? When did you have this epiphany? When you had a problem?
I needed...
What I'm telling you is you have a contract, and your contract says that you pay the vet bill. Right now, you owe her $325 because your horse was there in the month of September. Has this happened? You paid it?
Yes, I did.
Great. How much did you pay her?
I paid $325. I sent it to her through bill pay.
Is that correct?
It was canceled. I have an email from my bank saying it was canceled.
I canceled it, Your Honor, after...
So you owe her $325?
No, I paid that... She gave me a billing, Your Honor, when I came.
To pick up the horse, she said to you, you're not getting the horse unless you give me so much money.
Right, and she added on erroneous charges and add-ons.
Just a second. How much money did you give her?
I gave her $1,584.
Okay, now we come back to you. What is $1,584?
Billing of everything that I did for the horse, being that I had understood the horse was abandoned for the last 2 months.
Well, I don't care what you understand, actually. I don't care what you understand. 7 days is not abandoned.
She had not been to see that horse for months.
That's not true.
That's actually impossible because she told me that a month prior or 2 months prior, she had a conversation with you that she was moving the horse.
I believe it was a text exchange.
I don't care if it was text or by smoke signals.
She had not been to the facility to see her horse.
Listen to me. It doesn't matter. So far, she owes you $325 for boarding for the month of September.
I'd be happy to show you the billing with the receipts that I have.
Take a look. She paid you in August.
I apologize. It's complicated because we had
Just a second. No way. No way. So, baloney. Take it back. She owes you $325 because the horse hadn't been there the whole month of September. According to this, twice a month.
She also paid hay in addition to the board.
I understand that.
And I fed her horse, and I gave it medical care, which it was essential, or the horse could have got an infection and been very sick.
Let me tell you what you were required to do pursuant to your contract. You were required to get a vet.
I spoke to the vet.
I read your answer.
And he gave me his recommendation.
I read your answer. You don't get paid for that. You personally, unless you paid it, just a second. Listen to me.
It's left at my property that's abandoned.
Listen to me carefully. Unless the vet sent you a bill, you don't get paid for that.
How do you?
Did the vet send you the bill for the I'm speaking. Just answer the question. Did the vet send you a bill for the conversation that you had with the vet to tell you how to fix the injury, this large gaping hole in the horse's chest that happened while it was under your care?
No.
Did the vet tell you? The answer is no.
He gave me free advice because he knew
less
I thought it was abandoned.
which is actually what she owed you, which she didn't pay, which is $1,622. So far, $1,261. Then you do have to feed your horse.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. So how much does it cost for the horse's food for the 9 months that the horse was there?
It was $100 a month average for 6 bales of hay. That's what my size horse consumes.
Over the 9-month period, what did you pay?
I paid
for food?
on average of $120 a month.
Well, now it's from 100 to 120. Why don't we think again? How much did you pay for the horse's food for the 9 months that the horse was there?
$120. No, I paid that though. I paid that. She would give me.
In September?
She would tell me the amount.
Just a second. In September?
That's in her billing.
Just a second. What
that's
billing?
in her billing that she gave to me.
Oh, I'm deducting certain figures. I'm deducting from what you gave her, $1,584. I'm deducting what you owe her,
Right.
$325 for the boarding for the month of September.
Right.
You owe her $120 for food. I'm deducting that from the money that you gave her. This is your lawsuit.
$60, Your Honor, because it would have been half the month.
So far, $1,141 is what you're entitled to back from what she gave you, because you're not getting paid for the vet, for you acting like a vet on a horse that was injured on your watch. Food and her monthly boarding for September. What else does she owe you?
Grain, because I had to stop feeding the horse because it was losing weight. It was in
Grain.
stress.
Just a second. In the 9 months that you had the horse there, other than September, did you ever feed the horse and bill her for grain? The answer is either yes.
She brought the grain up until around July timeframe. June, July, I started feeding the horse because she was no longer bringing food for it.
Just a second. I'm giving you hay. That's in your deal. And I gave you for the whole month, not just half of it. What I asked you was, had you ever previously billed her for grain?
Before July, no, because she brought her own times a day.
$1,141. That's what you're entitled to, not $4,803. $1,141. That takes off the food for the horse and the $325 that you owe her.
Okay.
It actually says in my contract that I'm entitled to bill for medical care I provide the horse if I have to.
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
And later today.
Did you know that car was worth $84.50? 1983 Chevy Silverado? No, impossible.
It had some stuff done to it. It was
I don't
lower.
care what it had onto it. I don't care if it sang Happy Birthday in Mandarin.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Janice Tickle says,
Sarah Joint wouldn't return a horse she was boarding for her. Janice is suing for her damages.
Now, it says that you are required to provide veterinary care.
I gave
by
the
a
veterinary care. Under veterinary advice.
Are you a licensed veterinary
No,
doctor?
but my witness is a vet tech, and I went under her advice and the doctor's advice
Good.
on how
You don't
to
get
treat
paid
the
for
wound.
that. 1141. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
If it were her horse and the tables were turned, I would have called another vet until I had that horse, the gapping wound.
I texted her, I called her, I emailed her.
Sealed up and cleaned up.
I went way above and beyond.
I learned a lesson. I will never board at a private backyard facility.
Take care of your animals and go visit them when you're supposed to.
And certainly not through one I find on Craigslist.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Fawcett versus Gutierrez. Step forward.
Matthew and Dawn Fawcett are suing Caleb Gutierrez for money owed for a truck.
Bird, would you do me a favor? I don't know if our books go back this far. I'd like you to look up a 1983 Chevy Silverado and tell me what the blue book value of that car is while I'm inquiring. This is what the lawsuit is about. Mr. and Mrs. Fawcett, it is your claim that you hired the defendant to redo a kitchen project for you. In addition, you say that you sold him a 1983 Chevy Silverado for $3,000.
We didn't sell it to him. It was part of our payment to Caleb for the kitchen job, plus we added cash in on top of that.
So you were doing some barter.
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to find out how much the truck is worth.
$84.50.
$8,000.
$8,450.
1983.
It had some stuff done to it. It was
I don't
lower
care
than-
what it had onto it. I don't care if it sang Happy Birthday in Mandarin.
They're very sought after now to be customized and lowered, which
I don't
it was.
care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why would they sell you and give you the title to a very expensive car before you paid for it by doing the work you were supposed to do? So they were trusting people. So why would they all of a sudden start to threaten you and your wife?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Matthew and Dawn Fawcett claim Caleb Gutierrez owes for a truck.
Bird, I have to see it. I mean, we're talking about a 24-year-old. I'm looking for a Chevy Silverado. And where does this say Silverado here?
This is Silverado.
Let's see, Silverado package. I find that absolutely astounding. Did you know that that car was worth $84.50?
I did not, and I don't believe it is.
Well, I'm looking here, so I am going to show you. Would you show him what it says? I mean, I actually was amazed, Mr. Gutierrez.
Yeah, I suppose that would be if it's in excellent condition, which I doubt.
Even if it's in lousy condition, it's worth more than $1,200, right?
Could be, yes.
Not could be. So let's say they gave you a truck that's worth $6,000, and what you paid them was $1,250.
Yeah.
So they were expecting you to do another $4,000 worth of work. Let's say we take that figure, and I'm giving you the benefit of every doubt.
Yeah.
Did you do $4,000 worth of work for them?
Not completed, no. But the original job, the original estimate was for $4,700.
No.
I want to know what you did for them.
Well, we refaced the cabinets, is what it started out as. Ended up
No,
just...
I want to know not what it started out as. I want to know what you did for them. You got a $6,000, and that's giving you a great deal. $6,000 car for $1,250, which is what you gave them, which means I want to see you doing $4,350 worth of work.
Okay.
Did you do $4,300 worth
They
of work?
went...
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, they're only suing you for $3,500.
I don't believe they thought the truck was worth that much either. I still
Well,
don't
you
see
think
how
it
would be.
You don't think it is? I don't think it is, but that's what the book says it is.
The fair price in there was, I think,
Was what?
$14.50, it said.
No. What's the fair price? I think he made a mistake there.
Maybe I was looking at the wrong one, but
I think you were. I think that the Silverado package added 10% onto the long bed truck.
Okay.
What's the fair price?
$42.25.
$42.25. That's in fair condition. That's excellent. That's good. That's fair. Right? You still driving the truck?
No.
What happened to it?
Well,
what happened to the truck?
the tires are flat, and I don't drive it.
Well, now you know how valuable it is. Maybe you'll drive it.
True.
Any excuse why you didn't finish the job?
They just made it hard to go in there and work.
Explain to me how they made it hard.
They started threatening me, threatening my
you
wife.
how? Just a second. Why would they sell you and give you the title to a very expensive car to do? So they were trusting people, right? So why would they all of a sudden start to threaten you and your wife?
Because the job was taking longer than we expected.
Than you expected.
Both of us.
Than you expected.
Okay.
You owe them $3,500. That's what they're suing for. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Please, Judge, please, you may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Just bringing my wife into this when she had nothing to do with it, harassing me with phone calls and texts all day long.
Well, you know, when he says harass and threaten, I had to show up to his place of business, which is his home.
They did some sort of a check. They found out where I lived, showed up at my house.
I never entered his property. I stayed in my truck in the road, called him, and he came out. So I don't know what he's talking about.
You know, it was just difficult to work for them.
Obviously, we've learned you never trust people and don't pay them up front
Money up front.
for a job before they finish it.
You did not let her know you were moving to Texas.
Correct.
Parents on the run from one another.
She moved 2 weeks after she was pregnant. She was receiving child support in Maryland while she was getting welfare in California.
Or a dad fleeing from his responsibilities.
How much child support were you sending?
$800 a month.
And were you receiving that?
$9,000 to $10,000 behind right now.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Ezra Masters is suing the mother of his child, Chanel Martin, for reimbursement of travel expenses after she blocked him from seeing his daughter.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 223 on the calendar in the matter of Masters versus Martin.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Masters, you and Miss Martin have a child together, and it is your claim that Miss Martin purposely sabotaged a planned visitation, and as a result of that, you were unable to visit with your daughter when you traveled to see her, and you want Miss Martin to compensate you for the travel expenses that you incurred during that visit. That's what your case is about. Miss Martin says that the visitation had been rescinded by a judge at the time that you went to visit the child. She has a ridiculous counterclaim that I'll get to in a moment, but your counterclaim is a silly one. Now, how old is your child?
She's almost 4, 3.5.
And where do you live, Mr.
California, Los Angeles.
And when the child was born, where were you living, Mr. Masters?
California, Los Angeles.
So you moved to Texas?
Yes, ma'am, 3 months ago.
Is there a reason that you moved to Texas?
Work. Being here in California is hard to find work, a lot of competition. Dallas is just a better lifestyle.
Now, when you were in Los Angeles and your child was born, were you and Miss Martin ever residing together?
No, ma'am.
When your daughter was born, was there a declaration of paternity declaring you to be the father? You were never married, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
And at one point, there had to have been a court action because there was a visitation in place. Who initiated that?
I initiated that. I filed for custody and visitation.
And was there a judicial order
Yes.
put in place? I'd like to see it.
I don't have the one from Maryland.
Do you have it?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
From what jurisdiction?
The baby was born in Maryland. I have one from Maryland. That was the original. There have been 2 since then.
Just a second. The child was born in Maryland because you left Los Angeles.
Yes.
Who lives in Maryland? Family?
My family.
And did he come and see the child when the child was born in
He
Maryland?
came. Yes.
So I assume things were reasonable at that point.
No, ma'am.
Not really.
Not really was sufficient for him to come to visit you in Maryland. He traveled from Los Angeles.
He came to meet his daughter, yes.
Okay, fine.
That was fine.
And you don't have the original orders of visitation?
No, I didn't bring that one.
Do you have the latest? And when did you plan, sir, on visiting your daughter?
This was August the 18th, that weekend.
And was that pursuant to the order of visitation then in place?
Yes, ma'am.
In August?
That's what I mean. Here's that order.
No. This was filed in July.
That is the most recent one. There is not one after that. That is the one that was in place. On August 19th, that's the one that was in place.
I want to see one that was in place between 2013 and 2016.
I don't have that.
There it is, ma'am.
That's not it. That is something that he filed in June. That is not the original one.
I see what happened. He filed an action July 13th, 2016, and in his action, he was asking for joint legal custody, and visitation was granted, weekends starting immediately, and a visitation schedule. Were you present at that hearing?
No, he filed a regular, normal hearing, but I wasn't notified of the hearing. That's why I wasn't present. I would have been there.
Who knows? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Now, can you tell me, Mr. Masters, why you found it necessary to file a case on July 13th?
So to clarify the timeline, Ms. Martin and I were in a brief relationship. We decided to go on have a co-parenting relationship here in California. This situation arose because I didn't know if I could have children. It was kind of a dire situation. So
whatever. But you let the defendant know that you were relocating to Texas?
Her and I are in minimal communication. Everything was filed through the court system.
So the answer is you did not tell her that
Directly,
you were
no.
leaving for Texas in June, is my question.
Correct.
Now, had you been seeing your daughter regularly before?
Yes, until she had ceased.
Just a second. Before June, had you been seeing her regularly?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Shh. How regularly?
I was seeing her every Wednesday and every Sunday. This was allowed in the court order. Actually, I would have supposed to have it for the weekend. She would not allow me to have it for the weekend.
So is what you're telling me the last order that was in existence?
Yes, ma'am.
Was for weekend visitation
Yes, ma'am.
from the state of Maryland?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see it?
Okay.
Mr. Masters,
Yes, ma'am.
I have to tell you that I'm usually very sympathetic with parents who are trying to see their children. But I'm trying to understand you, sir. You left Los Angeles in June. You never notified the defendant that you were moving. You may have discussed it with her, but you didn't notify her that you were moving. And according to what I'm hearing, you had no contact with her until you filed.
Yes, ma'am.
And in the action that you filed in Los Angeles on July 13th, you asked for weekend visitation commencing immediately, correct?
Correct.
That's what you asked for.
Correct.
And I don't know what you said to the judge at that time, but the judge signed an ex parte order that said this order supersedes the order from Maryland. This is the order from Maryland. And the order from Maryland says that commencing in 2015, you shall be accorded 48-hour visits, which includes an overnight, on 30 days' notice to the other side.
Exactly.
Did you give Miss Martin 30 days' notice of your intention to exercise weekend visitation after you moved to Texas?
No, ma'am.
So after you moved to Texas in June, you had no contact with her?
Directly, no. Through her father, yes. That's why her father's sitting there.
On what date did you have contact with her father?
Most significant time was June the 8th when I was on the road driving to Texas. We were trying to figure out the situation.
Since June the 8th, did you have any contact with her father?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, tell me about it.
When I was in California.
When you were in California, on what date?
That weekend, 8/18.
So between June and 8/18, you have contact with her father when you came up for the weekend for visitation?
No, ma'am. We spoke on several occasions in regards to...
I want you to tell me
yes.
when.
Okay. So I spoke with him several weeks throughout July, all the way up until my visitation.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Spoke to him about what?
The visitation of my daughter.
Specifically?
Specifically, I wanted to see my daughter. We arranged that we were going to come the first, third. He asked me specifically when. He was very adamant about when I'm going to see my daughter. I told him I would come during the custody hearing. That third weekend, 8/19, was the actual hearing date on that Friday. I told him I would be there, which was in alignment with the order that I had. I would be there.
You're talking about the ex parte order that you got for weekends. Not the Maryland order.
Right, there's 3 orders. She had the ex parte. That's why I'm confused.
No,
she
no.
had the ex parte. I'm a little confused.
Don't be confused, sir.
I didn't do an ex parte.
Well, you filed your action by yourself. You didn't go to the courthouse together with her.
Right, okay, maybe I'm not understanding what ex parte is.
You
in that way.
didn't go to the courthouse together. You filed, in effect, an interim order when they set it down for hearing. But meanwhile, the only order that was in place prior to you getting this order that you got, superseding this Maryland order, was an order that says you may have 48-hour visitation on 30 days' notice to the defendant. I'm not hearing that you get to exercise visitation the weekend of August 18th. I haven't heard that you gave her 30 days' notice. All I hear is you left where your daughter was living, and she's 4. So there's no communication with the 4-year-old, who, according to you, you used to see Wednesdays and Sundays. And then the next thing she hears from you is that there's now an order in place where you can come and pick up your daughter from school, which is what you did. You went to the school to pick her up, right?
No. Yeah, that part is correct. The first part is not right. There's 2 different things you just mentioned. The second part you mentioned, go to our school, that is correct. The first part, prior to that, I had been in constant communication with her father and letting her know that there was an order in place. And I contacted him when we had the court hearing asking where was his daughter and why was she not there.
Okay, let me tell you this. I'm not granting your application for travel expenses.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why. Because when you leave the jurisdiction and you have a 4-year-old and you want to have a relationship with that child, you're not moving for custody of that child, but you want to have a relationship with her, which you should, then you don't change what is a primary order. You send a registered letter 30 days before you intend to exercise your visitation, and you send it to the defendant and you say, I'm coming up from Texas on the 18th of August. I'm giving you notice that I would like to exercise that 48-hour period because I now live far away. And if you did that, and she, not her father, not back and forth with her, she had notice, because she's the mother of your child, you should be in constant communication with her. How many children do you have?
I have 1 child. She moved 2 weeks after she was pregnant. Essentially, this is a sperm donor situation. I had been making contact repeatedly. I had made several visits to Maryland, pleading with her, several emails, hundreds of emails, pleading to her to bring my daughter back. At the time, I didn't know that this was
let me explain something to you.
I found out she was on welfare, Your Honor. This is why. Yes.
Pay careful attention.
Yes.
Anybody that refers to himself in a situation like this as merely a sperm donor is not operating with the right brain.
This is how she this is how she's conducted.
Just a second. Is not operating with the right brain. And, I mean, I thought I heard something, and maybe I was mistaken, that you were under the impression that you couldn't have children?
I didn't know. There was suspicion at the time because of...
I thought I heard that.
Yes. Yes.
I thought I heard that, that you at least believed that there might be a possibility that you couldn't have children.
But I didn't know. Yes.
Whatever it is. She went back to Maryland because I assume that this was not a relationship that you had with her that was going to blossom into something.
Thank you. We were in a relationship, yes.
Tell me, she was pregnant. Were you supportive during?
Working. At the time period, she was not. She was working.
Stop.
At the time period, the discussions that we had was as far as how are we going to move forward when it comes to the child. Her issue was that she did not want to work because her mother was supporting her at the time. She felt because she was pregnant, said this is not the situation that we had.
Were you living together?
No, we were not living together, no.
Okay, so you weren't living together even during her pregnancy?
She had just got pregnant. We were in these discussions, but when she was conceived, no, we were not living together. But we were in these discussions.
But you were not living together?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
What?
Am I going to have my turn?
Eventually, if you need to. Okay. Eventually, if you need to.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She was receiving child support in Maryland while she was getting welfare in California. So that communication...
Just a second. Was that a breached communication?
Yes.
And were you receiving that?
No, and definitely not all the time.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ezra Master says the mother of his child, Chanel Martin, owes for travel expenses after she blocked him from seeing his daughter. The defendant is countersuing for lost wages and emotional distress.
So the defendant went home to be with her family and visited twice.
No, I'm sorry, 4 times, but yes.
That's great. But time that is important to me,
yes,
within the context of your case seeking reimbursement for traveling expenses, you were under an order, the only order that the 2 of you knew about, was a Maryland order that required you to give her 30 days notice of your intention to exercise visitation.
Yes, I had done that on several occasions because when I thought that she was in Maryland, I did not find that she was in California until welfare notified me that she was in California.
On what year?
This was 2015.
Just a second. Well, then there was a substantial period of time that you didn't see your daughter.
Oh, I saw her. As soon as I found out about that, she was in California.
There was a substantial period of time when you did not regularly see your daughter.
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Okay. So there was irregular visitation. Now, did you ever travel anywhere other than from Maryland, where you were living, to California?
Yes.
Where did you go in between?
I traveled to Florida. I traveled to...
I mean, when I say travel, I don't mean travel for a week. Did you live in Florida?
No. I lived in Maryland until I lived here again.
Okay. I'm not talking about traveling on vacation. So you went from Maryland back to California?
Yes.
Great. So there was a substantial period of time when you did not see your daughter.
Yes.
Okay. You weren't denied visitation, but she was in Maryland.
Yes, I was denied visitation.
Well, you didn't file the action, sir, until after you were notified by child support that she was receiving welfare and they were coming after you for support.
She was receiving child support in Maryland while she was getting welfare in California. So that communication...
Just a second.
Yes.
Was that a breached communication? How much child support were you sending?
$800 a month. It's enforced. They take it automatically out of my account.
And were you receiving that?
No, and definitely not all the time. He wasn't working for a lot of the times. They couldn't garnish his wages.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This is why she was awarded the ex parte, because she essentially...
No, I got...
Well, it says domestic violence. It says I violated. It says I hacked the computer system and changed her address into my address.
Wait a second. She's not going to be able to prove any of that.
Yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ezra Masters has accused the mother of his child, Chanel Martin, of owing for travel expenses. Chanel has a countersuit for lost wages and emotional distress.
Now, in what month and year did you come to California?
February 2015.
And did you apply for public assistance at that 2015?
Yes, ma'am. Here's where I paid. These are all, this is documentation I paid. I still paid directly to Maryland.
Just a second.
Yes. There are 3 pages there.
Pays his child support regularly. It comes right out of his check.
No, he does not pay his child support regularly. If he happened to pay those months that he sent to you, I can't keep in my mind every time because it is now and then. He is about $9,000 to $10,000 behind right now. So if he was paying,
they garnished in March of 2016. They received $4,540.
Yes, I assume that was from his tax return. That was
I'm sure it was. I know it was from his tax return
because he's so far behind.
But his payments have been consistent since March of 2015, April 2015, and this goes back to February of 2015. Pays his child support. Okay. Now, what kind of an order is in place now for visitation?
What's in place now?
Is nothing?
I mean, she has the ex parte, and this is where she
When are you supposed to be
We go back to court
tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
We go back to court tomorrow.
Tomorrow. And through her ex parte agreement, and what she mentioned earlier, this is why she was awarded the ex parte, because she essentially...
No,
Well, it says domestic violence. It says I violated. It says I hacked the computer system and changed her address into my address.
Wait a second. She's not going to be able to prove any of that.
Yeah. No, I know. That's
she of that.
Yes.
But the one thing she can establish, sir, to the judge, which doesn't let you prevail here, is that you left the jurisdiction where your child was living, and you didn't communicate that to the defendant. And the next contact she has is that you are going to exercise a visitation order from a court where she was not present, and it changed an order that had been in place in Maryland where both of you were present, and a court had an opportunity to hear both of you and to figure out who was stretching the truth and who was not, and where everybody was. The only time is when the two of you were together in Maryland. Subsequent to that, you went to court.
Yes.
And you got an order changing that order from Maryland, because I read the order.
Yes.
That's not the way to do business. It's not the way to do business.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I'm telling you, whether you like him or not, you picked him. Your daughter has a right to know her father. I'm sure that the family court judge before whom you appear tomorrow...
He can see her. He just doesn't.
No.
Great.
She has denied me every time.
Just a second.
Majority.
Well, that's not true, sir. That's not true,
Ma'am, that
because
is
you
true.
told me
Yes, ma'am.
at this hearing that before you left in June, you were seeing the child on Wednesdays and Sundays.
That's
what you told me.
She disallowed
Your
me
case
from
is
seeing my
dismissed.
child.
We're done.
Okay. Thank you,
Your counterclaim, I said nonsense at the time. It's still nonsense.
Okay.
Step out. Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
My daughter's the victim because this woman doesn't see that I'm a fantastic father trying to love my daughter. That's it.
I mean, he's using the court system to, I guess, save face. He's a very absent parent.
And my daughter is only a victim because this woman has...
He gave a nice little spiel about how he wants to be a dad. It's false.
Making a point to keep my daughter away from a loving father, to me, makes no sense.
He's having an adult temper tantrum, and instead of actually being a dad...
She needs to grow up. It's really unfortunate that people can see a woman in a pretty dress, pretend to be innocent and just assume that she's right.
Because she's 3.5. He could have been a great dad by now. He'd rather play around and spend his energy trying to upset me.
I'm going to fight to the day that if I have to stalk this woman from a bridge to make sure that my daughter's okay, then that's what I'll do.
I mean, if he wants to be a dad, I can't wait for that day for him to actually be a father. But if not, we are really fine with
I needed $4,800.
Why?
Because I was getting a house.
No money, no problem.
Why did you ask him to take out this very high-priced loan?
I didn't have the rest.
Don't move into a $4,800 house.
Until she had a problem with him.
I found out that Sean was a convicted felon. At that point, I told him that we could no longer see each other. You are such a hustler, Miss Sims.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Sean Chris Boykin is suing his ex-girlfriend, Maisha Sims, for an unpaid loan and lost wages.
Order. All rise.
Now it's case number 182 on the calendar in the matter of Boykin versus Sims.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Boykin, you had a short relationship with the defendant. During that time, according to your complaint, she was sort of short on money. She was living out of her car. She needed rent and security deposit and stuff. She had some of the money, but she didn't have all that she needed. Your complaint says that you took out $600, and the loan had extraordinarily high interest payments on it. And the agreement was she was to repay in installments the money. According to you, she stopped being your girlfriend. She also didn't pay the loan. And the loan, which was $2,600, according to you, is now $3,543 because the interest keeps accumulating. Ms. Sims says that the agreement was that she was supposed to pay half of the loan. You took some of the money when the loan was granted. How much?
$200.
Why?
Because she gave me that for basically pulling out the loan for her.
Well, let me ask you a question. Were you working at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work were you doing?
At that time, I was doing construction as well as plumbing.
And what kind of work were you doing?
I work for a marketing company.
Do you get paid by the hour or by the call?
By the hour.
How many hours a week were you working?
40.
How long have you been working for the same company, and what's the name of the company?
5 years at Vantage Sales and Marketing.
So why couldn't you take out your own loan?
I didn't have the credit.
Why couldn't you take? You were working for 5 years, working a 40-hour week, and according to you, you were living in your car.
I went through a divorce, and I fell into a financial crisis, and I didn't have the money.
Do you know I'm not believing you? It's not the case, but I'm not necessarily believing you. You want to start over again with me? Financial crisis is a nice term. You were working at the same job for 5 years. You had saved up how much money?
I had about $2,000.
And how much did you need?
I needed $4,800.
Why?
Because I was getting a house. I was buying a house.
You were buying a house?
I was attempting to buy a house, lease with the option to buy, and I needed a deposit.
So you needed $2,800?
In addition to what I had,
In addition to what you had?
Yes.
Are you still in that house?
Yes.
Did you buy it?
No.
Where is it located?
It's in Los Angeles.
And what's the current rent, and to whom do you pay that rent?
It's currently $1,400, and I pay it to Bob.
Who's Bob?
The owner.
Now you're going to explain to me why on a 14-month rental you needed $4,800.
It was first and last.
I got it.
And a deposit, a security deposit. She charged a separate deposit. They charged a separate deposit.
Okay, that's usually equivalent to 1 month's rent.
It was not.
How much was the security deposit?
$2,400.
Well, if you had $2,000, why did you ask him to take out this very high-priced loan?
I didn't have the rest.
Then you don't move into a $4,800. I would like to see all of the loan papers that you filled out.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to see a Xerox copy. Or they don't use Xerox anymore. What do they say? A copy of anything. I want to see the loan papers that you filled out.
Okay, sir.
I'd like to see a copy of your lease.
I don't have a copy of my lease.
Go get it.
I didn't bring it with me.
Well, we'll get it. We're going to get it. We'll get it, and I'll see you after lunch. Get me a copy of your lease. Got it?
Parties are excused. This case will be recalled.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So what you're trying to tell me, sir, that you were never intimate with the defendant?
There was no intimate relationship, Your Honor.
I didn't say if you were in a relationship. I said, were you intimate with?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
In a case earlier today, Sean Chris Boykin says ex-girlfriend Maisha Sims owes for a loan and lost wages.
Yeah, this is a recall of case number 182 in the matter of Boykin versus Sims.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties are reminded you're still in the...
Left, I sent you home to get from your landlord a copy of your lease. Do you have it?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Sure.
Dixon.
That's my boyfriend.
I thought he was your boyfriend.
No, he wasn't my boyfriend.
Well, what was he?
My friend.
Do you know Mr. Dixon?
I met him.
When did you meet him?
Probably about a month and a half ago.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding you meeting him.
I was starting to get tired of dealing with the defendant about giving me my money. And so I went over, which was probably, I would think, probably ill-advised on my half, but I went over to confront her about my money because she had clearly broken the agreement that we had. So I told her, it was one morning about, I think maybe about 7 o'clock in the morning. I went over there and he happened to be pulling out from the house that they bought, that she bought with money.
So they're tenants.
Well, okay.
They moved in as co-tenants.
Okay, yes ma'am. So I went over there and he was pulling out, I guess he was taking, I'm not sure who the child was in the car, but he was taking some child to school, I assume. He stopped because...
Whose child is that?
It's his child.
Who lives in the house?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. When he saw me going to the house, he's like, what's up, you know, back to him. So I knocked on the door. She came to the door and she said, well, what's going on? I said, you know, I went through...
No, tell me what you said. Don't tell me I went through. She said, what's going on?
And I said, where's my money? Yeah.
And?
He, at the time, I could see he clearly didn't know that this happened. He didn't know what was going on because he was in the dark that she had took this money from me. So I was explaining, I said, listen, I need my money, I need to, because every day you're making this percentage go up higher and higher. And I told her, had she paid the money back in the time that she was supposed to, this percentage would never be as high as it would. I think the loan company would have only about maybe $100. $107 to be somewhere in the vicinity. But that was back in January. And so all these times I kept going on and on and on. But to be more specific to your question, Your Honor, that was the day that I met, was that day about 2 months ago, I would say.
You are such a hustler, Miss Sims. Let me read what you wrote in your answer. You said, I kept up my end of the bargain and made all of the payments I had agreed to. A few months after the loan, and the loan was in January.
Yes,
a few months after the loan, which would have been March, I told him that we could no longer see each other, and I then rekindled my relationship with my former boyfriend. But this lease you signed in January with your former boyfriend, who is now your current boyfriend in January. Are you following what I'm saying? Do you want me to repeat it? Because you look confused. I don't want you to be confused about anything that I say. You signed this lease on January 28th with Dixon. Am I confused?
No, you're not confused.
So that the answer that you filed here is incorrect.
It's incorrect.
Which means that the story that you told was incorrect.
I was paying the money back.
No. Which means that the story you told here in this deposition that you signed is incorrect.
That's incorrect.
Now, I'm going to show you your lease, and I want you, because perhaps I'm missing it, I want you to take Officer Bird's pen and make a big circle on this lease where it says that you paid $1,400 for the first month's rent, $1,400 for the second month's rent, and $2,400 in security. I want you to circle that, because what you told me you needed to move in was $4,800, and you had $2,000. So I want you to circle the $2,400 I see. Now I want you to circle where you paid the $1,400 last month's rent.
Here you go.
No. This says the monthly rent is $1,400.
So I had
payable on the first of the month, and a $2,400 security deposit. That's $3,800.
Okay, $3,800. I miscalculated, not $4,838.
I want to know how long you dated her.
Ma'am, dating, I wouldn't say that's the word. I wouldn't characterize it as dating.
Well, tell me what you would characterize it as.
I would characterize it as a person that I had known.
How did you find her?
Through the woman who I was dating. It was her cousin.
And then you stopped dating her, and you started to date her.
Well,
Look at me. Don't give me an If I'm wrong, just tell me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Am I wrong, or is that what happened?
Yes, ma'am, you're wrong.
Okay, tell me about it. I'm
going
to read.
Okay, I'm going to tell you exactly how it went down.
I love it. I love it.
What occurred, Your Honor, was that Antoinette, my witness, who I was dating at the time, well, we were not talking anymore. She was distraught. Antoinette was distraught because she wasn't able to talk to me. She gave my phone, started talking strictly only as friends and about Antoinette. And then, as we started becoming friends, that's when she already knew she was out on her luck, that she was living in her car. I saw this with my own eyes. So that's when she started going into like, hey, you know, my family won't help me. Could you help me out?
Is what you're trying to tell me, sir, that you were never intimate with the defendant?
There was no intimate relationship, Your Honor.
Well, those are two words put together. I didn't put those two words together, sir. You put the two words together. Intimate and relationship are two entirely different things. I asked you one word. I didn't say if you were in a relationship. I said, were you intimate with?
Yes, ma'am.
We were not. That was very clever. I give you credit for that. You weren't in an intimate relationship. That I understand.
I'm under oath, Your Honor.
Yeah, well, I got it. Okay, maybe.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This says that you borrowed $2,600. If you make the minimum payments, the total you will have paid back is $12,533. Isn't there such a thing as usury in this state?
And later today,
I heard mumbling and then skerfuffling and then cursing and then a really loud bang. And I knocked on the door and...
Okay, so he was drunk and he fell on the floor.
Yes.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sean Chris Boykin says ex-girlfriend Maisha Sims owes for a loan and lost wages.
Now I'd like you to show me how much of this loan you paid off.
I've paid $1,500.
Show me. 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 What is this?
That's the receipt from the place showing how much I paid to date and what the principal is left.
Total paid was $500.
No, the total paid is on the other receipt with the card. I paid a total of $1,500.
Oh, no, this is nothing. You see, this is nothing.
Well, the loan is in his name, so they won't give me.
I don't know why they gave you this.
Because I've been making the payments on it.
Show me. Show me checks, money orders, receipts. Show me.
I paid cash. I just gave it to you.
Then you get a receipt. No, no, you don't get this. You get a receipt. If it's a loan, company, then you get a receipt. Now, speedy loan, unsecured. Did you ever have any further contact with her boyfriend?
No, other than that one time I mentioned to you a few minutes ago, no.
I want to say how absolutely, this says that you borrowed $2,600. If you make the payments that they tell you to make, if you make the minimum payments, the total you will have paid back is $12,533 at the interest rate of 135.393%, which I actually don't know. Isn't there such a thing as usury in this state?
Yes, ma'am. It was a ridiculous thing to do, but with Maisha, we had worked out between ourselves that if you pay this amount, the only amount of money that Speedy Loan would have received in interest would have been about $107.
Who paid the $140 when the matter went to collections?
I did.
You did?
I've been paying all the $140 payments.
Great, that's what you should continue to do. The case is dismissed. I'm done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I did something nice for somebody.
I borrowed the money. I've been paying the money back.
He helped her, and then she didn't pay him back.
Threatening, just influencing him a lot.
This is overwhelming right here. This is too much, man.
I won't borrow this kind of money again. It was a big mistake.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Stone versus Railing. Step forward.
Scott Stone is suing his ex-roommate, Kristen Railing, for the return of his rent and deposit.
Yes, ma'am.
Moved in with Miss Railing on the 1st of March.
Correct.
And your rent was how much?
$600 per month.
And you gave her a $300 security deposit.
I gave her $1,200 down completely in total.
First month's rent and last month's rent, or was it first
Correct.
month's rent?
Both first month's and then a deposit.
And you gave that to her when you moved in on March 1st?
In 3 separate payments, yes, ma'am.
When were you finished with the payments?
The 28th, I believe, or according to this, the 26th of February, I made the last $900 payment on the $1,200.
And you didn't move in until March 1st?
Correct.
Okay. Now, I want you to tell me, Miss Railing, I read your answer, and your answer says that Mr. Stone was a problem from the beginning.
Yes.
Did that mean March 1st, March 2nd?
Honestly, I noticed the first incident on the night that I came to pick up the final deposit. I went to his house to pick up his deposit, the rest of the money, and he had asked me to give him a ride to a show that he was going to, and I noticed in that time that he was quite intoxicated.
Okay, and then he moved in.
And he had just broken up with his girlfriend, so I assumed that he was going through a rough patch, and he was drinking, and that was fine. But then about 9 days after he moved in on March 9th, I was trying to sleep, and it was about 10 o'clock at night. Circus acrobat, and I train a lot, and the whole house goes to bed early. And at about 10 o'clock, 10:30, I heard mumbling and then skerfuffling and then cursing and then a really loud bang coming from Mr. Stone's room, which is directly connected to my room. And so I knocked on the door.
And what time was this?
About 10:30-ish. I wrote my roommate right after the incident, and it was 10:50, so sometime before then. And I knocked on the door, and Mr. Stone was on the floor, drunk. I asked him if he was fighting with somebody. He was alone. I asked him if he had heard any noises, loud banging or anything, and he looked at me as though there was no noise.
Okay, so he was on the floor. He was drunk and he fell on the floor.
Yes.
And what happened?
And then I told him that, this kind of behavior wasn't acceptable and that maybe he was unhappy living here, and I never evicted him, but
okay,
it was
you have to give him his money back. Let's be clear.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. You should want to give him his money back. How much did you give him back?
So far, I have given him nothing.
Well, you have to give him his money back. Let me explain something to you. When you have a roommate, you can't unless you have a written lease with them that requires them to be in bed by 10 o'clock and not drink in the apartment. They can swing from the chandeliers if they want to at 10 o'clock at night. That's what happens when you have a roommate. And if you went in and said to him, this kind of behavior can't continue, maybe you're not happy here, and he took that as this kind of behavior can't continue, this is my behavior. This is what I'm going to do now. So you say, listen, this was a mistake for everybody.
Yeah.
Goodbye. What your answer suggests is, since he didn't give you notice, he doesn't get any money back. Well, you don't break down the bills. He moved out on what date?
He moved out on March 15th.
He's being very, very nice to you. I would have given him his entire $1,200 back that he gave you, because you can't dictate to him. You and your 3 roommates are responsible people. You should probably, and if you all go to bed at 10 o'clock and get up early in the morning to train, you should probably live alone together or live with somebody whose job is consistent with yours, so that they too go to bed at 10 o'clock.
When we spoke beforehand.
If it's not in writing and part of your lease, it doesn't exist. He's only suing you for $900. He's suing for the return of his security deposit and for half a month's rent. He's being very reasonable. Don't be ridiculous. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900.
They step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
At some point, the engagement was broken.
I had been forced out of the home by police.